Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another MCU Crew. Jesse, you look perplexed. You look confused. What was that? Repeat that.
Was the music from our intro.
Yeah, I told you I could give you guys the music.
We have theme music?
We've had it since episode 1, Jesse.
Have we always had music?
We've always had music.
Have we deserved it, though?
No.
Like, have we deserved it?
No, not really. Not really.
All right. Okay.
I'll let the viewers in on this, as well as you guys, but I've already told you guys this. My PC just blue screened like 3 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago or some shit. So we'll see if it does it again. I'll just cut to a break and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, turns out those Windows updates to go against that, whatever that weird thing, what's the term for it? That big security flaw that was out last week, L3PH, what?
Oh, yeah.
Log4j.
Yeah.
The Log4j.
All I can tell you is last night I went to bed and I turned off my computer, went to bed, and I'm like laying in bed and I hear like a, I'm like, what the hell is that noise? I don't have any fans on. No, nothing's like being dried in the dryer. I'm like, what the? I get up, walk upstairs. Even though I turned my computer off, the fan was still running, but at the highest possible speed.
Oh, that's scary.
I was like, what the hell? So I just like shut everything down, and now I'm terrified to turn that computer on because I'm afraid it's like, bro, I don't know what I did to it. So
scary.
You know, it's one of those times. It's one of those times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Christmas time, as everyone would say. It's Christmas time. Bronze, how's it going for you? Both of you are up at 4:30 a.m. What are you doing up past your bedtime? Why? Well, Jesse, I've heard Jesse's
whatever
story.
Bronze was doing is way cooler than what I was doing.
Jesse gave me an old fib. I don't know if I should trust him on that.
What were you doing, Jesse?
I was watching a TV show and fell asleep at 7:30 on the couch because I think it bored me and it was cold. So I put my arms in my shirt and I was like all wrapped up like a little tiny snug bug. And then I fell asleep. And then I woke up at 11:30.
Arms in your shirt? You really are a goddamn kid.
I put my arms in my shirt like a little snug bug. And then I ended up waking up at 11:30 and was like, I guess I should go to bed, and then laid in bed for X number of hours unable to sleep. So that's what happened to me. Bronze was probably like fighting zombies or some awful shit. I don't know.
And the real story, Bronze, were you fighting zombies?
I was playing League of Legends.
Yeah, you were. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. New JP's all right with that. Old JP, I don't know if he'd be cool.
What's
Old JP
your main?
would have asked me if I needed therapy.
Is that what I asked you last time?
No, you asked me if I was depressed. You're like, are you okay?
Oh. Well, I mean, I generally do care for your well-being, mentally and physically, so I'm glad I did that. It's a very caring thing for a friend to do.
I don't care about either of those things. I need to know what your main is. Heimerdinger? Are you a Heimerdinger main? I feel like you are.
No. I don't know. I've been when I first played League like 10 years ago, I was an ADC mid person, and now I feel like I'm a support somehow.
Ooh.
And I don't like that. So last night I was trying to relearn ADC and I demoted because I was doing ranked. That's how bad I sucked at ADC after.
Well, you're in the preseason.
I'm a Lulu main.
It's fine.
I'm a Lulu. I love Lulu. That champ is like my champ.
Yeah.
I love that character so much.
Were you raging
Did
at
you
your
know
support?
in Arcane? No, actually, because I knew I was bad. Yeah, people in my chat were like shocked. They were like, oh, your jungle needs to come help you, this, that, and the other. And I was like, no, I lost my lane. I need to play better. And everyone was like, what? I was like, I can tell when I'm bad at something. I'll just say, I'll be like, oh no, that's my fault. They're like, you're like a one of a kind League player. I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, no, that's not the jungle's fault. That's not the sport's fault. Like, my positioning was shit.
Was
there.
this like game 1 or 2? Is that what was happening? Like your first or second
no,
game
this
of the
was
day?
like game 4 or 5. Like,
okay.
I'm just really good at knowing like when I messed up.
Yeah.
So I don't
strong
get, like,
mental.
I don't get ragey about it. I know when I'm bad.
Not me. I'm a rage machine.
I will go, instead of raging, Jesse, I will go into like straight up like almost like deadpan despair. I was playing Halo Infinite yesterday too, and I was like, because I'm bad at this game. And I'm sandbagging my whole team. I can't aim for shit, and I'm bad.
Sounds about right.
No, it is everyone else's fault but mine. I am a perfect player. I will be like, oh, yeah, I get like angry, spiteful rage. I feel terrible afterwards. I have like, in the moment, I'm a giant asshole, and afterwards I'm like, I can't believe I said that. I don't even know that guy. Like, I don't even. I need to learn from everyone else. Everyone else that I play with has like, they're good at it, which is why I don't do a lot of competitive games, because I become a monster.
Yeah.
A truly terrible person.
Yeah, my chat has a I'm PJ when I play competitive games. That's what they tell me. I'm not JP. So
there are games I'm toxic at, but it's games I'm actually good at. Games that I'm bad at, I'm not toxic at, if that makes sense. Because I know, like, I don't have the right to be toxic.
That's a thin line, Bronze. That's how you get to Tilt Town right there, is what I hear. That's how I'm
maybe. Yeah, because like
the off ramp to Tilt Town.
I noticed my attitude is definitely a lot worse like when I play support, when I play Lulu. Like, because then I know that I'm playing a great game, and I feel like even then it'll just be like, instead of like my depression, it'll be more smug where I'm like, God, well, there's no carrying this team. This team sucks, you know? It'll be like that. But if I'm like, versus like last night, I was trying to learn MF and Caitlyn, and I was just like, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Like every 5 minutes. If I'm playing a game I'm good at, like I guess Monster Hunter or something like that, I do feel like I'm a lot less. Like people come in and be like, "Do you do viewer lobbies?" I'm like, "No," because most of you that play this game fucking suck. I go,
there we go.
That's my brand of toxic. I'm like, I would never.
Right.
I would never. Have you been in pug groups with this? No. Most of the people that play this game are fucking ass. Why the hell would I queue with you? You're horrible. We're never gonna kill this behemoth. Was it that Final Fantasy event?
That's the
where
behemoth,
they had behemoth in Monster Hunter World?
That's correct.
I saw people's performance on that, and I was like, no, I would rather run with 2 people or 3 people than run with a pug, because you people are so fucking bad at this game.
The behemoth is actually a pretty hard fight too, in Monster Hunter. So I get it. I understand it. Maybe not so much in Final Fantasy, but yeah.
In Final Fantasy, is it like a pushover fight?
I wouldn't say pushover fight, but it's nowhere near as difficult as the Monster Hunter version. The Monster Hunter version's a nightmare, especially if you go under geared. I remember having a hard time against that.
Yeah, I would. It definitely also requires a lot of team coordination.
Yeah. You gotta have they have roles and all that stuff. But anyways, you guys do anything for Christmas? Are you in the holiday spirit yet? I asked this on another show I did yesterday. It's always fun to hear people's traditions.
No.
Nothing.
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Really?
I'm not a big holiday guy. Like, I'm
really?
Like, oh, cool. Yeah. No.
I figured you'd be like super into holidays.
No, I unless I'm told that something's happening, I won't even celebrate my birthday. I'm like, I got other stuff to do. I'm fine. I'm like not a big holiday person.
You don't partake in any of the festivities?
I mean, I'll go like to my parents' house and say hi and hang out and maybe get like
I'll talk to them once a year.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it isn't like one of those things where, my parents now live in state. I'm not like, I don't go home and it's like, oh, let's put up a tree and do a thing. And I spend like 2 weeks at home. Now they're like, come on over, we'll do dinner. I'm like, okay, that was lovely. See you later. And I just leave. And it's great. That's the best thing I can ask for. It's a good solid 4 hours. And I'm like, we did a thing and we had a lovely dinner and we didn't argue over dumb stuff. This was great.
Yeah.
I love you guys. I'm so happy I got to see you. I'm leaving. Bye. Yeah, I don't know. Most of the time it's like a great example is at Thanksgiving, my parents and I went out to eat instead of making food, which was so smart. And it was hilarious because everyone else at the restaurant was literally the identical family. It was 2 parents and 1 child, and it was all of us, and it was great.
Just hanging out?
Huge fan. Yeah, huge fan because, you know, what are you going to do? You're not going to make, like, a huge meal for a single child and, like...
That's true.
2 parents, so...
Did you hit up, like, a traditional Thanksgiving, or did you go get Chinese?
No, we went and got, like, I got turkey and the whole thing. It was lovely.
Okay, whole
It was
thing.
delicious. Yeah, look, I'm not a big, you know me, I don't like having stuff anyway. So the idea of storing even all the accoutrement for a tree or a fake tree, putting that somewhere in my home and using it once to me is like, what is the value in that?
Now I get that.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's a lot. Now we have 2, potentially 3 trees in our house because Aaron loves the trees. But yeah,
it's not that I don't love.
But we use fake.
The idea
we
of
don't
Christmas,
do the real trees.
Or the idea of any holiday. Huge fan of holidays in general. But like, again, just like children and pets. I like to go somewhere, experience it, and then not have to deal with it ever again. Like, oh, you have lovely kids. Oh, what a cute dog you have. And then I go home and it's like crickets and perfectly silent. I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh, I don't have to deal with that anymore. That's lovely. Yeah, it's great.
Nice. Bronze, do you do any holiday celebrating of any kind? Or just business as usual?
I feel like normally I do some decorating. Because that's kind of what my mom did. My dad would always be like, we're not Christian, you know, but my mom always liked the lights and stuff. And so she would always decorate. And so I do enjoy the decoration aspect of it. But this year it just kind of snuck up on me. And then I'm not really going to travel for Christmas.
We're not either.
But I already feel like I dodged a bullet traveling for PAX Unplugged. So like, I'm not going to travel so close to that.
Sure.
Yeah. Cause we were just hearing about Omicron. I feel like when I booked that travel, and now I'm like, no, I think I'm going to pass. So no, not here. I feel the same way about Halloween. Normally I like really go all out on Halloween decorations. I don't know if anyone else is feeling this way, chat, but like, I feel like this year I'm like, it's December. It feels like August.
It
like,
does
I'm not
feel
ready.
like August. Yeah, I definitely had the stark realization that it's like Christmas in 5 days or Christmas in 7 days. It's like, that's not real. That's not a real thing. It doesn't feel, it's like 70 degrees outside here in St. Louis. No way. That's too hot. We usually have
it makes
snow.
it hard to like,
fine.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'll get a tree and decorate sometime. And then it was like, oh, it's December 20th. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's
literally what happened.
Let's put a bow on this conversation. Let's wrap it up on a high note. I'm going to scare the fuck out of everyone as well as the 2 of you. Did you know that December 2022 is just 2020-2? You know what I'm saying? It's just the second 2020.
The whole year is 2022 is just 2022.
I know, but it's 2020-2.
And then from this point on, 2023 and 2024.
No, but
and
Jesse,
2025.
you're not
It's going to keep happening. You're screwed, bro.
Wait. No, you do understand. You're right.
I do understand what's happening.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
We've got 8 long years, Jesse. That's what I'm getting.
So excited.
I know.
I'm excited for 2024, the revengeing. 2025, hard rain. 2026.
Is that the nomenclature we're going with?
Yeah, 2026. Too fast, too COVID.
Oh,
2027.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. 2027 is gonna be like I don't know.
So wait, does that mean in like 2027 that like COVID fights another virus, and then they really want to both be the star virus of the pandemic?
No. 2027 is when The Rock joins.
Oh, we just get The Rock.
we suddenly love it. We're suddenly like, you know what? The other ones kind of sucked, but like now, this COVID, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. The Rock was like, he's very good in it. They're gonna be like, Patient Zero was The Rock, and we're like, you know what? Not so bad. I actually like this one.
Yeah, then he becomes president very good. In 2028. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna come back, and the next 3 are gonna be amazing. You're gonna be like, wow, I really enjoyed that.
All right. Well, let's hope that we're not as accurate as we were with Spider-Man in predicting the next.
Oh yeah,
8 years. Because we nailed the fuck out of Spider-Man. We were on point.
And Hawkeye.
We were
very good.
Yeah.
We were very good. Yeah.
I would also like, let's preface the conversation with this. We will be just spoiling the shit out of Spider-Man No Way Home. If you haven't seen it yet, I would say actually, like, if you haven't seen it, just don't watch this week. Just wait. Yeah, it's worth it. Don't spoil it. I had very little spoilers going in. Erin was completely unspoiled when she watched the movie, and her reactions were fantastic to sit next to.
I was completely unspoiled. I will also say, normally I'm one of those people that's like doesn't care that much about spoilers, because like if you look at a movie like Eternals, like what are you really gonna spoil about that? But like this movie, chat, has a lot of spoilers. Yeah. I will say that with my whole chest. There's so much to be spoiled in this film.
Yep.
That it's jarring almost.
Yeah. Well, and also with Eternals,
I feel stupid saying that because that sentence seems dumb. Like, but like Shang-Chi, there's so many movies where I'm like, well, there's nothing you can really spoil about it.
Yeah, it's because the spoilers in those other movies are like, you have to have setup. For this, you don't. They're like, they're like 3 or 4 word spoilers. And that's it. And then then you know it. Yeah. So yeah, just get the fuck out of here if you haven't seen the movie. Come watch us.
Just leave.
Come watch us when you're done for your own.
No way.
And then we'll also be going into Hawkeye, spoiling the shit out of episode 5 of Hawkeye, which I think we all enjoyed as well.
Things to say about Hawkeye. Woo.
Yeah. All right. We're done. I think. Can I put?
We're done. All right. Bye, everyone.
If I press this, hey, there we go. We got a spoiler alert thing. That looks great. Fantastic. The Spoodermans. It's over. We've watched it. That saga is done. Guys, there was multiple times in that movie when I wasn't smiling ear to ear, and I was just thinking like, this is fucking crazy. This fucking, I can't believe I'm seeing any of this on the screen in front of me. And that happens like 40 minutes into the movie all the way till the very end of the movie. Just nonstop, like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm watching this type stuff. I also didn't expect it to be as emotional as it was. My wife, while not necessarily the best emotional test, was like blubbering, like just straight up bawling from any point when, spoilers, Aunt May dies to the end, just nonstop tears, just like silently sobbing next to me. Even 40 or 30 minutes after the movie ended, she was just like, that movie sucks. Why would they do that to me? It was so fucking sad. It's like, that's a Spider-Man story. Stress. That's how it goes.
Like, I was invited to go see it with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And I started to drive to go to the theater because everyone I know in this dumb city lives in like dumb Glendale or dumb Hollywood. I had to drive my ass over there. So I'm like driving, it decides to rain. So now it says it's going to take 2 hours to get to the theater. And I was like, this better be worth it. This sucks. So I was late to the movie. So I was like, I'm not going to see it late. So I paid to see it later. So I didn't even get to see it with my friends. I drove to a theater out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So anyway, I was very upset. I was like, this better be good. Let me tell you, the last 30 minutes of this movie might be my favorite 30 minutes of any Marvel property, period.
I'd agree.
It was like everything I wanted. And I don't even know how to describe, like, there's something... I don't know, like, there's something about the fact that I watched a movie where one Spider-Man said to 2 other Spider-Men,
yep,
I love you guys, and their response was thank you. I was like, look at these Spider-Men being cool with each other and love it. Like, this is what a bro movie. I was like, I'm digging the shit out of this. It was lovely.
It was very wholesome towards the
all
end,
the way around.
In regards to that. Yeah.
Loved every minute of it. Super, super wholesome. I love like everything they did with the 3 Spider-Men just hyping each other up was like super fun.
It was very fan servicey, but it was like fan service done well.
Yes.
The entire film.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what's crazy about it is when compared to something like Endgame, which is a movie that was like a 10-year in the making, everything comes to this film was 20 years in the making. And what's crazy to me is seeing the audience reaction for like, you know, Toby showing up, for like little kids losing their shit. And I was like,
yeah,
I fucking love this.
Well,
it's crazy to me.
To put an exclamation point on what you just said, I think with Endgame, right? Like I went into that. I can't speak for everyone. I went into that film thinking like, all right, this is the end of a 10-year thing. With this film, I went into it thinking like, I'm going to see a Spider-Man film. And then I got hit with like, oh, they're actually wrapping up shit from like 20 years ago. And it came out of nowhere. Like him.
And
there's so many moments where they just give the other Spider-Men their like epilogues and just a single act. And it was fantastic.
And what was beautiful about it is the conclusion of the stories of the other 2 Spider-Men wasn't like, it was literally just like, oh, and then they save the villains. I was like, what a great, look, I was having all the good vibes of that movie. I was like, look at these boys.
Yeah.
Going out of their way to save the bad guys. They don't even need to be doing this. And it's like, I love this. I love everything about this.
The dialogue was wholesome. Like when Doc Ock talks to Toby, he's like, how you doing, Otto? He's like,
when they started playing the theme song from those Spider-Man movies, I was like, these motherfuckers. Yeah. Oh yeah. I was feeling it. I was like, oh no, Lord.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Oh, it was great.
I definitely found myself like tearing up multiple times. I think the biggest for me, which came out of nowhere, the biggest emotional reaction was when Tom Holland goes to like save MJ and he can't. And then they give it to Andrew Garfield and he's just like choking the fuck up at the bottom and she doesn't know why, but it's because he finally got to save an MJ. That moment was like out of nowhere and it's like, oh my fucking God.
It was here's the thing. I don't know if maybe I have to see it again, but that scene felt so fast.
Yeah.
Like he catches her and lands and it's like, whoop. And I was like,
why what's this emotional response?
I thought it was gonna be like a like, I don't know, like a moment. You know what I mean? Like a moment. And everyone seems to have responded to it, but for me it went by so quickly. I don't think I even had a chance to like process what had just happened.
Yeah. I think like it takes I think some people caught on earlier that Spider-Man was like welling up in the moment, and if you didn't, then the scene just like kind of hit a little bit differently because it kind of comes off as a joke as well. Like it's somewhat of a jokey moment if you don't know the context. But
even when he lands, like him grabbing her to the landing portion, I think is like 0.1 seconds. Like it isn't even like an emotional, like he got her. It literally is like he grabs her, lands, and then there's like the scene of him processing what happened.
Right.
Rather than it be like, he caught her, and now there's like a moment where he's like taking her down to safety. None of that. It was like, boop, down on the ground. I was like, whoa, that happened so quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Bronze. My eyes only operate at 30 FPS.
Me and Jesse are dominating the conversation.
Not this 30 FPS shit. No, I loved it. I think this movie, okay, stay on board with me here. I think what works about this movie is this is what I always wanted with Marvel crossovers, where although there was a lot of crossover, it was all self-contained within like the Spider-Man universe, so they could do more with it. And we were not sitting here wondering, well, if this was happening in New York, where's Iron Man? Because Iron Man's dead. Where, I like that. And I know that these big crossover events are popular, but I think like what ends up happening is they don't have meaningful crossovers and meaningful intersection. And this one, to me, it just made sense. Like we had context for who these people were, even if you didn't have context. if you've watched the Tom Holland Spider-Mans, you know who they are, like at least you have some idea for who this character is. And I just think like this was the type of crossover that to me, like this makes sense. And you can have like meaningful things happen with the characters involved because it's not affecting the greater MCU in that type of way. Like there is a reasonable chance that one of these Peter Parkers can die. There is a reasonable chance that some of these villains can die.
Right.
There's a reasonable chance that like all of these major things can happen. And we know that they can happen because they're pulling in stuff that, if Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man dies, that does not affect the next Avengers film. And
Right.
that's what I've always wanted.
Yeah, there's
out
real
of
threats.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Because we know to a certain extent that Ant-Man's not going to die in Quantumania because we know that. Do you know what I mean? I think that's half of reason of why people were so like blown away by Endgame because it felt to a certain extent like all bets are off. Like this is the last movie. Who knows who's going to die? Who's going to stay in? Who's going to keep going? Like we don't know. And the one thing that I think despite a lot of us loving Marvel films that we can all agree on is like they've become a bit formulaic. They've become a bit predictable. Now, a lot of our predictions for Spider-Man or No Way Home were true, but for me to go into a movie and be able to clock like 3 things and still walk away like shocked and happy and fulfilled, I think that says something for how good the movie was, that stuff didn't even matter.
Totally.
Because they did do things that completely subverted my expectations. And I kind of I don't know if I like, but I like that Aunt May dying is like almost like a Nexus event. Like across every time this happens, and it has to happen for Spider-Man, for Peter Parker to become the best version of himself.
Right.
Or to learn that lesson. And I thought it would have been so easy for that scene to come off as corny. With the whole, like, with great power comes great responsibility, because we've heard it so many times. It would have been so easy for that scene to come off as corny, but, like, when he starts that phrase, that sentence, and Tobey Maguire finishes it, I teared up.
Same.
I'm tearing up thinking about it. Like, I felt
stupid
I would have been
for
like,
tearing
oh,
up
great.
multiple times like that.
Yeah,
but
but
it
like,
worked. You're right.
I teared up. And it's like, it's almost like somebody, like, for that phrase to endure across multiple timelines, it's like, to a certain extent, it's like Spider-Man in some way, shape, or form has to pay this price that Doctor Strange was talking about. The price of trying to be Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And Tom Holland had not paid that price yet,
Right.
And
Yeah.
for somebody else, it was their Uncle Ben. For somebody else, it was their Uncle Bennett or their Gwen Stacy or their best friend. And our Peter had not paid that price.
Right.
And when he did, that's when he like really became Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, that's
absolutely.
And you're absolutely right. It doesn't have to be Ben. It can be, Aunt May or Uncle Aaron, right? It can be like anyone can set you on the right path to like be. The thing that I loved about this is we got 2 things I think were I don't know if it was needed. We got one thing was definitely needed, but one thing I really appreciated, which is the fact that we saw the Andrew and the Tobey Spider-Man clearly years after the inciting incidents of their movies, and we got to see Tobey Spider-Man as like spider adult.
He's like wise spider. Yeah,
but his wiseness wasn't like tropey wise shit. His wiseness was like trying to be a better dude. Like, you're amazing, Andrew Garfield. You're amazing. Like that shit. I was like, and then Andrew as a character was like, I'm bitter and pissed off and like mad at the world. And it took hanging out with like the younger version of themselves to like find themselves again. I loved that about this movie. And then I think the best part for me, and I know the ending's probably very contentious, but like seeing Tom Spider-Man, boy, this is already hard to.
It gets hard to talk about. Yeah, Spider-Man 1.
Seeing Spider-Man 1, finally have to do the thing that I truly think all Spider-Men have to do, which is like be on their own.
Yeah.
It's the first time Tom Holland didn't have backup. There's no guy in the chair. There's no one on there's no Avengers. There's no Tony Stark. There's nothing. he is literally the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man again. That's it. Like I'm excited to see, because they said they're gonna make a fourth one.
They're making a new trilogy, yeah, and with the symbiote there and all that stuff, like you could see where they're going. But
that wherever they go from here, the thing we have, his origin story is done, and now we see Spider-Man like doing,
Spider-Man stuff.
We're about to enter some like trophies, like like J. Jonah Jameson's gonna be out for that Spider-Man, and he's gonna have to like make some money. How's he gonna make some money somehow? Like we're gonna get the Spider-Man that we've that we all know and love.
Yeah,
and I think that's fun.
I think it is 100%
interesting.
And I think the one thing that a lot of people who only know Tom Holland Spider-Man is that like Spider-Man's whole shtick in the comics is that he gets beat the fuck up physically, emotionally. Like he does not have a good time. Spider-Man's life in the comics is not fun.
But he's also, and that the whole idea is he's like just a kid, man. He's the most like the person you can relate to most as like.
But what I was saying is he never got that through the MCU experience. He was given everything immediately and escalated to like, I'm going to go to space, I'm going to fight Thanos and all that shit. And so now that we actually got like that true to comic Spider-Man arc, and we're potentially going to see it. I mean, they even kind of throw a nod to it with the costume where he like learned to sew because Aunt May did all of his costuming when he first started out. Like that, I think, is why it hits so hard for so many people, because it's actually truly fucked up where he's at after like the arc that he's been through, to see everything that that has happened over the past 3 films, and for it to end where it did, where he is literally alone, literally has no friends, no help whatsoever. It's like truly sad. It's truly a sad moment.
I don't, there's something beautiful about that to me, where the idea is he does the superhero thing where he says, I'm coming for you, MJ, and we're gonna like get back together, and I promise you guys I love you, I'll find you. And he sees that she has a bandage from where she got hurt because of him.
Yeah.
And he was like, he did the thing that Tobey Maguire did, which was just like, I gotta walk away from this. And frankly, love that shit. I love the superhero.
Oh, I love it too. I'm just saying I
can't have what I want because this is my job. I'm the hero. That's beautiful, man. That's great. I love that.
I think like that's where this movie is better than a lot of other Marvel films, is that the narrative themes are very strong and get reinforced like in really creative ways, as opposed to like sometimes I feel like they say it outright, like they explain to you what it is, because they don't do a good job of like actually telling you. But like it's very interesting going into this film. We see this like very plucky kind of, Tom Holland, like he's dealing with some stuff, but he still seems like ready to deal with it. And this is the part that hit me emotionally. I know we've been grieving Tony Stark for like 2 films, but he goes to the next Tony Stark-esque figure in his life, and we see how this figure treats him compared to Tony. And it really drives home that like Tony would have helped him with so much of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and he's been Spider-Man under this man's like wing, where the training wheels never really came off. And we joke like in the first movie about the training wheels protocol, but like Tony was watching over this kid, he was like almost kind of like the Uncle Ben figure. And he died, but is different than Aunt May's death, right? Because he didn't die because of any folly of Peter's or because of, he didn't, it's different. But anyways, we'll go back to that later. But like we see him go to the next figure like that in his life, Doctor Strange, and we see the difference there in not only in demeanor, but in like, no, that's not how it works. You're a fucking idiot, kid. Which from Doctor Strange's perspective, he's so right that it's like not even funny.
I love how that
like,
scene ended. That whole scene was great, where he goes through all that shit, casts the spell, and then he gets to the door, he's like, wait, you didn't call them?
He's like, why wouldn't you call them and ask them to reconsider? And it makes sense because he's even wearing his collegiate hoodie, because this is a man that's a neurosurgeon. So he's like, he knows how the academic system works. And he's like, I'm like, but why didn't you ask him? And it's because Stephen Strange is a lot of things, but he's not a great father figure.
Well, he also loves to show off. So why wouldn't he show off and cast a fucking giant like multiverse spell? Right.
I think it's also like he's also so much smarter than everyone else he's around. He forgets to think on their level. Where it's
Right.
like, yeah, but this is this boy, Peter Parker's first time applying to college. How would he know he can do that? Like for
Absolutely.
somebody who's been to med school, this is probably obvious. But to this kid, this is not obvious, you know? Whereas like I feel like Tony Stark would have been like, well, you know what? Let me call them and let's get it reconsidered. You know, I was like, because I was having that thought process where I was like, why not make a case to them? You know, you have connections, don't you?
He's fun. Yeah, why not just show up and be, hey, I'm Spider-Man. Let me in, you idiots. Like, I'll protect the school. I'll run. I'll make sure there's no crime in MIT or some shit. Yeah, 100%.
And I think we all know that if he had asked Tony Stark or even Matt Murdock, we'll have to get to that too.
Yeah.
Hey, they won't let me and my friends into school. They would have given him such better advice than Strange, who's like, you want to cast a spell? Sure, let's cast a spell. Wait, you didn't ask? And I'm like, he's a Zoomer. How would you expect him to know that stuff? Like, he's an idiot. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
But we open with like these villains that have been, to get back to that narrative point, that have been like killed or are going to be killed by their respective Spider-Mans in their respective universes. And coming at it from a Tom Holland Spider-Man, we're like, we can't imagine him killing anybody. Mm-hmm. So it paints this picture that these other Spider-Men must be like kind of grizzled. These other timelines must be kind of shitty. But then we go through this beautiful narrative journey where we basically get to see in real time what pushed them there. And then we get to see them save Tom Holland from that same fate. We literally get to see that like unfold over the course of one film, which is a fucking triumph. Like, because that's so difficult to do that we get context where at the end of it, we also kind of want to see Green Goblin die. At the beginning of that film, that's not where you're at mentally. You're at like, oh yeah, this fucking, I can't believe Tobey Maguire killed this guy. This guy's such a treasure. And at the end, you're like, oh my God, I kind of want to kill this guy. Willem Dafoe deserves an Oscar because he was just so good.
Oh my God. Not only was he good
for that donut scene.
No, that was great too.
The donut stealing was so good.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
All of like the actual acting that he did was phenomenal. I thought the fight scenes, particularly the one in the like apartment where
building,
it was brutal as shit. He's just like smashing him through fucking floor after floor after floor after floor. And like as he's being punched, he's doing like the Joker maniacal laugh at the same time. It was
him
great.
That was
it
great.
Was incredible.
Him getting punched in the face with a smile. I was like,
someone on Reddit pointed this out and I didn't realize this. Did you notice that there was two things? One, when he's like Green Goblin and not Norman, his teeth changed. His teeth were like fucked up. And that was like how you're supposed to know when he like goes from Green Goblin to Norman. There's like a slight tweaking of the teeth. There's also a foreshadowing when apparently when they pull out the Stark fabricator, his hair is over his ear like a Green Goblin ear. Like it kind of has a little bit of a spike to it. And people are like, oh, that's a little bit foreshadowing that like he's still not in control, particularly. That type of shit was just insane that they put that small stuff in there that I would have never even noticed. Yeah. I was telling Aaron after the film ended, like if we were to take a left at this light instead of a right, and it was to go back into the film immediately, I'd be like, let's go. Because I wanted to sit down and watch it again. But she was like, I can't see that again right now. I'm too emotional. So we went home. But
can I really quickly, just for the sake of a rundown?
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire. The Green Goblin kills himself with his own glider.
Yeah, it hits him. Yep.
Right.
On the side of the building.
His own Gilder. Yeah. And then Doc Ock dies from his own dumb experiment. Right? Correct?
Yeah, well he sinks into the water.
With like the gravity well of the sun and okay.
Yeah.
So those two characters die of their in the Amazing Spider-Man, the lizard, does he get turned back at some point?
Yeah, he saves him in Spider-Man 1.
And then Jamie Foxx.
So that's the loophole.
Himself.
There's a loophole with Jamie Foxx. He does die. I forget exactly how, but the loophole is that Jamie Foxx's character never knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. And so a lot of people are like struggling with that. But yeah, that's how he dies. Is at the end of that,
Also,
I think he just gets overloaded with power or something like that.
Can I just say that's like my one critique of the film? That is like the one thing is that in a movie where everyone else found character and found character so strongly, even from like supporting cast like Ned and Zendaya and Flash, where everyone comes in and they know what they're doing. I have to be honest, like Electra,
he was the weakest.
I just don't understand. Like there were so many scenes where I was just like, like even when they try to pull that thing off of him and is like, nah, that's not gonna work. I was like, that, like, is it the writing? Is it delivery?
It was weird. I felt like
the way he said, no, that's not gonna work. I was like,
he was a little flat. I also think in a lot of ways, his character existed to show the technological advancement in the MCU part of the universe. Because like the arc reactor was just so much of a giant jump. And like that's shitty that he existed just for that.
Well, and his lines, like I think part of it maybe was the writing, because a lot of it was just like, I kind of want that fabricator. Anyways.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't understand why you're here. Like he had no chemistry.
He was better than he was in the second Amazing Spider-Man though. I'll say that much. I think but he still wasn't great.
The problem with Lizard and
Electro,
Electro, and even for a little bit Sandman, is the fact that the two actors playing Doc Ock and Green Goblin are
phenomenal,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Like they're so good, and they like suck up all the charisma on screen whenever they're on screen. And so, like, I don't know.
That's partially really why I said like, in a movie where everyone found shines. Like they're so like there's such strong character work. Like I know, like I get that like MJ's role is MJ's, but like I'm telling you guys, if it wasn't Zendaya doing that, like she sells MJ as like this. Any other character, like swinging. Anytime we've had a escort quest, these characters get annoying. Am I wrong? Anytime you have like an MJ swinging along with Spider-Man, it's just them going, Peter! I never felt that way with Zendaya. I never felt like she was annoying or in the way or, and so much of that is like her interpretation of the character and how she plays it, where she's like competent. She's like, well, clearly we'll come up with a plan. Like I like that she's very like pragmatic and she's like, well, just tell us and we'll help you. Like, it's not like, how could you do this, Peter? So some of that is like good writing, where it's so cool like, to see her be supportive.
MJ and Ned actually listened to Spider-Man. He said, hey, go back there and stay safe. They there and stayed there and stay safe. It wasn't like the trope of like, oh, we're going to try to help out and then get in trouble. Shit.
They always listen to him.
Yeah.
Ned and MJ's friendship sells it a lot too, where you could tell they're both in it together. She doesn't come off as like I said, an annoying Resident Evil 4 type of companion that's just shrieking and screaming. Like it's like she has this general understanding Peter's trying to save her. And even in the beginning of the film, because that scene had the potential to be annoying. Because in other movies, I don't know, maybe I'm says it like that shit annoys me, where it's just like some chick shrieking on Spider-Man's arm. Like how she's like, I really don't like that. And he's like, well, take the subway. She's like, okay, yeah, that was worse. But like she's not yelling at him because she understands that like he's trying to get me to safety. He's trying to get me out of here. Whereas like I feel like just that character, there's so many opportunities for it to be annoying because she doesn't have superpowers.
Yeah.
And there's so much of a likelihood of her being like an anchor or like or dead weight, but she never comes off that way, and neither does Ned.
I think, and I agree with everything you said. I also think that to some extent, it's also a product of the age that the movie came out in, right? Like MJ's character is supposed to be like the snarky internet asshole, which is like where a lot of people her age are. And if you go back to like the other Spider-Man, they're supposed to be like the female love interest, that you would expect from a movie like that. It's very tropey in that regard.
There's a case to be made that them pulling people that know who Peter Parker is into this reality. There's a case we made that like there's an entirely different movie there, right? Like one where Andrew Garfield finds Gwen Stacy alive.
Sure.
Right? Like or
a
Tobey Maguire gets to have a conversation with Uncle Ben. Like there's an entire like I think that we could all sit here and be like, here's the million things that they could have done differently, or this, it's a comic book movie. We can still talk about the ideas of time travel with Endgame, but I'm still going to be like, I enjoyed it, even though it's insane. I enjoyed it. And, it's the same thing here. We can definitely 100% nitpick the idea of like, people who know who Peter Parker is are coming through. Like, there's a lot of people actually that could have been in this movie, but there's only so much movie they can make.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think like. Well, go ahead, Bronze.
Oh, sorry. But what's kind of cool though, like about that kind of like cross franchise sort of pollination that I kind of like. They joke about how there's only an Avengers in Tom Holland's universe, because I think they were trying to make a nod to that. Like, imagine if there was an MCU in every, because then you would have all types of motherfuckers coming through, all types. I also have another thought for that, but remind me to come back to that, because I'm wondering if that's how Dark Doctor Strange comes through.
There's all like
that's a thought.
When he's doing the spell at the final towards the final act, or towards the end of the final act, like you can look at the silhouettes of the people coming through. You can see Scorpion, Black Cat, Rhino. Like there's a billion people there.
Literally, yeah.
From his like entire group.
The Scorpion they showed was the one from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. There's a ton for sure.
It's kind of cool.
Oh,
but the other thing I kind of liked about that cross film pollination is I do like that they kind of sold this story that all three Peter Parkers were different phases of the same hero, and y'all were saying, they definitely sell that like Andrew's still in the rage phase, Toby is somewhere far past it, and Tom Holland is about to go into it, right? So they all have this very different perspective, where even talking about love, Andrew says, that's not really for us. Tom doesn't know better yet. And Toby says, no, we figure out ways to make it work. Like Toby is a lot more kind of almost positive or uplifting. And I feel
if I had to place it on like a Spider-Man timeline, Bronze, I feel like Tobey Spider-Man is post Peter Parker from Into the Spider-Verse, where he's like, you know what, I'll go back and talk to Mary Jane. And Tobey is like beyond that phase of the like comic books. They kind of hate each other now, and then they like get back together, like that kind of thing.
Yes.
I feel like that's where Tobey's,
like says,
you're absolutely right.
We figure it out. He's like, we can figure it out. Like he's in such a great place that what I like about it is that it kind of redeems those characters in some ways, right? Because it's not setting them up as, oh, well, the Tom Holland Spider-Man is so much better than the Andrew Garfield one, is so much better than the Tobey Maguire one, because all people do is compare these. And instead, the movie did a really beautiful, almost like retconning or repainting of that, of being like, no, they're all Peter Parker, and they're all just in different phases. And maybe you like one more than the other, but let's stop saying that Andrew Garfield fucking sucked and Tom Holland was fucking great. And hopefully fans will stop doing that after seeing a movie of them gassing each other up, you know?
Yeah.
Now that
the Twitter reception of
Andrew Garfield movie.
Yeah, people are losing their shit over Garfield. Which rightfully so, because I think he, out of all the others, is the best actor.
I want to say this because I think this movie proved it to be true. The biggest problem with the Amazing Spider-Man movies, the villains sucked. Terrible. I think this movie proved it. This movie was like, bring the two villains from those movies, and those two villains suck ass. And if you even the Green Goblin or whatever the hell, the Hobgoblin, the Osborns in the Amazing Spider-Man sucked. Like, it's very clear that Andrew Garfield wasn't the problem with those films. Let's be honest.
I understood that from his like, this is what I mean when I said a movie where everyone finds character so quickly and sells it so quickly. Like, I feel like being cast in this film is a nightmare. I really do. But as soon as he comes through that portal,
he owns the
and
scene.
he's like, really?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
And he's like hanging from the ceiling, and she's like throwing bread at him, and he's like, she's like, why isn't your tingle working? He's like, because I'm not threatened by bread. That entire scene.
He has the best
And when
lines,
he like
dude.
spider crawls across and grabs the cobweb, and then you know what really sold it to me? When Ned's grandma's like, I'm going to bed, you guys are making a mess. And you notice him like putting the spices back and like fixing the table?
He says
like,
goodnight to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, like this is
Chat said it right. He
how
uses
is
charisma.
he so cute?
Dude,
Yeah.
there's
How
even
is he
stuff.
so cute?
There's even things that happen like mid-fight with you have a hard time hearing them, but like Tobey Maguire's spiderweb gets on his face and he's going like ew, 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 and he's like trying to wipe it off.
Yeah, because it's like splooge. Yeah.
Just like
The
that
scene-
stuff is so fantastic. It's so good.
The scene where they're getting their shit together, and he's like, Spider number 2, and he's like, number 3. Like that shit is hilarious.
Yeah, I was
Like even
losing
he
it.
recognizes how ludicrous it is that he's just number 3, and he's like, yeah, I get it. I love that. I love that about that's like all 3 of them were exactly what I needed them to be.
Yeah.
I cannot stress how much I enjoyed the last 30 minutes of this movie. It was like from the moment all 3 showed up, I was like,
Yeah.
is this the best? Is this the
Well,
best
and, like
Marvel movie?
each of them encapsulates, in my opinion, something different about Peter
Yes.
Parker that we love. I feel like Andrew Garfield is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like he's jokey, he's quippy, he's fun, he's
the
great.
quippy
He's like,
one. Yeah.
in my opinion, he's like, and I understand there's so many iterations of the comic books, but I feel like he's the comic book one that sells every one-liner
Yes.
and is hilarious and he's great and he's charismatic. And you can imagine, because have y'all seen MJ in the comics? You can imagine her dating him
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
so fucking cool. Toby, I don't know what it is. When they talked about him being a cool youth pastor, I was like,
That was a great
"No, but
line.
That's
Yeah.
her Toby. That's her Toby." As soon as he came through the portal, he's like so sincere.
Very
You know what
calm,
I mean? Like,
very
he's-
mild, yeah,
He's
very
so,
gentle.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's great.
he's so sincere, and you just trust him, and you love him, and he's so special. He's our golden boy. I don't understand people who hate Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I don't know.
I understand not liking this movie, but like I don't understand people who hate him. Like that boy is the nerdy kid. He's like the nerdy kid that got bullied and is now like, such a great mentor and has such a big heart. Like he's the one that volunteers at the soup kitchen. He reminds me of the Spider-Man from like the PlayStation video games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where he just has like such a big heart and cares so much about his community, like he's such a different part of that. And then to me, Tom Holland Spider-Man is the superhero. The one that could make such a huge sacrifice, the one that can fight aliens in space. And I feel like all 3 of them like have their own spaces. I, for one, would love to see Toby get another shot. I know it probably sounds crazy, or Andrew get another shot. I would like to see it.
Yeah. All of Twitter wants to see that. I think like the chemistry between those 3 characters and the writing between those 3 characters, fucking just put them in a full movie.
The choreography?
It was great. Anytime the 3 of them were on screen together, no matter what they were doing, whether it was talking or fighting, it was fantastic. Like they nailed every second of them being on screen.
I audibly screamed in the movie theater when he's like, all right, trust your tingle, work as a team. And they're like, we're not used to working as a team. And then the 3 of them take off and then they rappel off each other midair.
Oh, yeah,
I was like,
sick as fuck.
I was like, this is the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen.
Yeah,
this is like,
they were doing all their
this is the
poses
coolest
too.
fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. Seeing them like use each other as anchor points, I was like,
It was remarkable.
This is the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I'm curious for you guys because I never went and saw Endgame in the theater. Jesse, I know we saw it together, but then you went and saw it in a theater after the fact. And Bronze, I think you saw Endgame in a theater.
Mhm.
For me, it was my first like pretty large pop off moment when Andrew Garfield walked through that portal, or when he took off his mask. Was it loud as shit, and was it comparable to like Captain America catching a hammer or a portal moment or anything like that? In terms of just the crowd reaction.
So the biggest crowd reaction I saw, there were 2. It was Tobey Maguire was Green Goblin. I didn't know that many Tobey Maguire because those movies are old. That was like
he's 46.
That was like my Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When I was a kid, that
he's
was my Spider-Man.
Years old. He's old.
So I wouldn't expect young people to even know who that is because there's been 2 Spider-Man since then. But when Tobey Maguire walked through that portal, the entire theater erupted. Like it was like Andrew Garfield got a little bit, but like Tobey Maguire got like the doctors, like that reaction. And then on the bridge when or the first time we see the full Green Goblin, that got applauded.
Really?
I thought Doc Ock would. Yeah,
because that was in the trailers. Even, that's surprising.
Yeah, Doc Ock, I think, was the thing in my theater. I was saying earlier, watching like little kids lose their shit over Toby was like insane. Because you're right, that was 2001, right?
Yeah,
was that spot? So like that was 20 years ago. That's crazy to me that little kids are. But those are good ass movies. Shout out to Macy Gray, wherever you're at, Macy Gray.
I need to go back and watch them. Yeah,
at the World Unity Festival.
There was a lot of pop off.
I had a meltdown over Charlie Cox.
That didn't get a single reaction from my theater, and I think I saw it without like MCU fans.
You are insane.
But
oh my god, that had the biggest reaction in my theater.
And like 2 other people. There was like in my theater, there was like me and like 3 other people that had that reaction.
Yeah.
But I was like fucking shrieking. I was just
I
just had like a fucking meltdown.
Thursday night, and it was like
that's probably why Thursday night was a huge Marvel fan.
When Matt Murdock shows up,
so good.
My theater went like apeshit. My theater, that was the biggest pop off was Murdock showing up because I think everyone was like, "Oh, like Toby was great." People cheered. And Andrew was great. People cheered. And the last, bit, people were cheering like crazy. But like the pop, like where people were like, "Oh shit!" Like
that was Garfield for me. But it was Murdock. That's crazy.
That was Matt Murdock. And I think because everyone realized at that point, like
it's happening.
Shit's about to get good in the MCU. So I was like, yeah, it was great.
I just about got up and left the movie theater. Like I was like, this can't be topped. Like, you know what I mean? Like. He is so like him saying like, I actually think you're fine. Like giving them legal counsel. And then when he grabs the brick and he's like, I'm a really good lawyer. I literally was like, I put my popcorn bucket down. I was like, I need to leave. I'm done.
And they didn't.
There's nothing else that could happen in this film.
They could have had him just show up, be a lawyer, and not hint at any powers.
Yeah. And I called they were going to do that shit.
Yeah. I honest God thought.
Okay, if you go back and watch the last MCU Crew, I got a tweet about this. I fucking predicted this shit down to a T where I said, I think they were going to show that like he has some abilities.
Yeah.
Not that he's operating as Daredevil or not. I think they're going to leave that open.
We
were talking about whether or not that would trigger that tingle. And it didn't because he's not in danger. They come back to that with the bread thing where it's like, well, he's not in danger. So that's why it didn't like register. And he's just like, I'm a really good lawyer. But Charlie Cox is like, so good as Matthew Murdock.
Well, you're just a fangirl for Charlie Cox. That's all this is.
No, he's so like, good.
Charlie Cox is very close to Jesse Cox. It's like right there.
Oh my god!
So if we can just work on that a little bit, if we can workshop
it. The thing is, like, I wasn't. I feel like I was a pretty big fan of the show, and I thought, like, oh yeah, he's definitely part of it. Yeah. But I was like, I think I'm a bigger D'Onofrio fan, And then a subtle flex. I got to play D&D with him, and I met him, and I felt betrayed when this bitch had a British when this bitch had a British accent and looked at me.
That always happens.
And I was like, I don't know what it was. I was like, you have a British accent and you can see? Like I felt it was disturbing. And that's when I knew he was a great actor. Like I actually knew he wasn't blind, but when he looked and was like, oh yeah, so how do I roll for initiative? I was like, you lied. Like that was my brain. My brain was like misfiring. I'm like, and that's when I realized, like, okay, no, this dude really sold it. Like because I felt lied to. I was like, you could see, you have a British accent.
Bronze, you now have me like really excited that someday there's the potential that like, what if I got to play anything with Vincent D'Onofrio? I would be like, can we do this in like Only
Can you
over
wear
the top acting.
Can you wear a suit, perhaps, Mr. Vincent D'Onofrio? Can you
we do this in the
maybe a white one?
Adler style? Like, oh my! I would be like so happy because that man goes 100%.
Oh
Yes.
That dude does not like that man is consistent. I would want to do you know what? I've changed my mind. I want to do a D&D Men in Black themed campaign with Vincent D'Onofrio reprising his like I would lose my mind.
He probably is such a nice person that he would totally 100% do it. He'd be like, okay, I guess I'll do that shit again.
Did you see his post Hawkeye tweets?
I did not. What did he say?
He's so funny. He was okay. Let me find it. He was saying after, I guess these are Hawkeye spoilers. Are we allowed to drop Hawkeye spoilers?
I mean, we're talking about it in a sec, right?
Okay, yeah. So, Kingpin got revealed in Hawkeye, and
yeah, we got spoiler alert up here.
Yeah, so he like quote tweeted an article about his reveal and said, "All we saw of that guy was that he was huge, and all we heard was a chuckle that was so obviously Vincent D'Onofrio. Who would have guessed that a ridiculously tight shot of a torso and arm would be one of the most important shots in all of the MCU?" And he's just been like tweeting about it. And
he's probably
I don't know,
the
it's
moon,
been like,
man, or over the moon.
Mm-hmm.
They probably all are, to be honest. I mean, it's to like go through the whole Netflix thing and then to finally be like a part of the MCU officially. That's got to be an insane ride. And I would think even Toby and Andrew are probably feeling the same way. Because I mean, Andrew like famously was historically depressed and pretty angry about the whole Amazing Spider-Man stuff because Sony straight up dropped him.
Well, look, so those movies, just like the Fantastic Four movies, were made to hold licenses.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious because they're shit. They're like not good. And it says nothing about the people involved. It says everything about the company that made them because clearly they did not care about quality. They were like, make a film. And that sucks. And so I do feel bad for him because that's ass.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been that way. And again, just revealed in the movie we watched. I mean,
it's fandom.
Yeah.
Right? So like it's not like other films where it's like, oh yeah, it flopped, you did a shit job, moving on. Right? Like you're going to go down in history as like ruining, I use that word very lightly, by the way, somebody's favorite character, favorite fictional character, because the way people treat Star Wars and comic book movies is like honestly unfair to the actors. I'm just going to say it. I hate it. I hate seeing it. It's like, okay, they made a bad film. Move on.
I mean, they still get a paycheck, but it's still a job.
But this is all like
but like they get lambasted to the point where it's like it's
100%.
so unfair. It's so unfair. Like the character, the actor that played Jar Jar Binks tried to kill himself.
Oh yeah, no, that's
because like
there
imagine
are
the
of that.
joy.
Even Hayden Christensen or whatever.
Yeah, imagine the joys of being like cast in a franchise you love. Or that you're excited, like, oh gosh, this is a dream job. Even if you don't love the franchise, this is a dream job. And then the movie sucks. And it's like, guess I won't exist on the internet anymore. You know, like that level of hatred. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know that most people, I don't think most people are equipped to deal with that. And I just think it's not fair. Like, they didn't write the movie.
Right.
It's it's not fair. I mean, it's just a fact. It's not fair. But it is the idea. It's a double-edged sword. The world of because it's this at the same time. It's the way those movies make $225 million over the course of 3 days, but it's also the like reason why it's so toxic in a fandom because of like the immense. I'm gonna say almost like
it's toxic.
It's too much. Yeah, like the love that they have for this character, this franchise, whatever. It is to an extent a part of who they are, and if you mess with that, you mess with them, and so they take it very personally. And that shit is not healthy, y'all. But
because like there's some characters I'm not gonna lie, I was never the biggest fan of Rose Tico, but I also understand that. I hope I don't mess around. Is it Kelly Marie Tran? I also understand that she didn't write those movies.
Yeah.
She didn't edit it. She didn't like it's very obvious.
Wait, what?
That, like, yeah.
So like, I understand that, like, Andrew Garfield did not write and direct Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2. So it's so unfair to have all of the hatred of it come down on his shoulders. And, like, Tobey Maguire is the greatest example of that because he's been in simultaneously great Spider-Man movies and some really
and better
fucking bad one.
Spider-Man movies as well, and Final Fantasy movies.
I mean, it's super obvious. Yeah,
the
Spider-Man
Venom one is
2,
so hard to watch, guys.
Spider-Man 3 sucks. It's not good.
Oh my god!
I have only seen that movie once, and it was in theaters. I have never watched it a second time. And I kind of want to.
I recently rewatched the dancing scene where he goes like he gets the dark hair and turns into.
That's like the most famous scene, probably from that entire trilogy. Yeah.
Ooh.
But let me state my theory of comic books, and especially comic book movies.
Okay.
Here's the deal: Spider-Man 3 sucked because too many villains. They weren't well fleshed out. It wasn't great. Mm-hmm. Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, not good because the villains suck. All I'm saying is the first Spider-Man movie of the MCU, it was all right. What made it great was they had a phenomenal actor as the villain. They came out swinging with Keaton.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. The villains make comic book movies. A good villain makes your film way better.
And that's why Iron Man 1 was so... Wait a minute. I broke your theory, Jesse.
Were you about to say Iron Man 1 was awesome? Is that Iron Man 1's all right? But that's because Tony carries it through the entire movie.
Right,
the villains suck.
It's like the one was brilliant when it came out.
That's our 8th movie, by the way. Number 8 in the MCU rankings.
But we did it because the same reason we do everything on our list is because of the impact overall rather than standalone. Because I'm going to say for this film, as a standalone film, I don't know that I think this is if you take account of if you just look at it as a standalone film, it's insane. Yeah. This is an insane movie. But if you take into account everything else and all the characters from other things and everything, I may say this might be our new number 1. I'm just going to put it out there.
Look, I said that. Put it out there. I didn't tweet it last night because I was saving for the show. We'll have this discussion maybe later on because I still think we have things to say about the movie. I left that movie thinking this is the best MCU film. Hands down. Immediate reaction. It might be recency bias. I might be popping off because I'm a Spider-Man fan, but yeah.
Because I felt like I was smoking crack because I loved Homecoming and I did not like Far From Home as much. Yeah. I was like, Far From Home was not.
It was
I enjoyed it, but it was not really my vibe. I liked Homecoming so much more. Mm-hmm. And then No Way Home, I was like, wow, they actually made a movie that I liked more than Homecoming. And I know that I was gunning in our tier list for Homecoming to be a lot higher than it was. Because I think I just like movies that know what they are. And they go for it in an uncompromising fashion. You know? And they're not too concerned with how much they're building up the rest of the MCU. I love movies that are character pieces. I think that's why I loved Shang-Chi. And that's why I didn't like Eternals. And I think that's why I love this movie is it is a crossover that is still very much a Peter Parker story. It is not that interested in propelling forward the rest of the MCU. I like that. I really like that. I don't think every film needs to push us towards another end game. And but especially a Spider-Man film.
It did do there were important bits MCU wide within the film. We got Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme. We got that told to us. That makes sense why he's doing everything
that he's doing. You all of it and they kind of let you know all of that within 10 minutes though. And even Doctor Strange, as much as he was in the trailer, he was in 10 minutes of the film.
Right.
Time out real quick. Can we talk about how Wong is now the dude who hi, I'm in this movie. Bye.
Oh yeah.
I for some reason love that. I love that he's just
about that. And
I
think Kevin Feige was talking about how Wong's becoming this linchpin of Phase 4. He's the most important character in Phase 4.
I would love for a payoff 12 movies from now to be oh yeah, all those things I was doing in the background, that actually is saving us right now. Yeah. That'd be ridiculous if that happened.
I think we'll get some. We'll talk about the post-credit scenes in a bit, but yeah.
Oh my God, he's the new Stan Lee. I love that.
Oh,
I love that he's shows up in every movie as a goof.
Dude,
that would be amazing.
Someone fucked me up last night after the movie. Someone said, "I wish Stan Lee could have seen this film," and that comment, I was like, "Fuck, that would have been."
Yeah.
That would have been pretty pretty cool. Just considering the ramifications of that.
I'm really happy Wong's role is being expanded because one of the big things with Doctor Strange that I love Doctor Strange. I've read this is like probably one of the few comic books I've read back to the 70s run. And the one thing that makes me uncomfortable about being a Doctor Strange fan is how fucking orientalist and horrible it is. Like I'm fully aware that it's not great in a lot of those regards. And even in general, having like a film that has like mandalas and stuff and like zero Indians in it is weird. But I try to hand wave some of that away and just say, okay, it's fine. They're doing their best. But like Wong is a character that's like smart and proficient and gets Stephen Strange out of a lot of situations in the comics, but like he never has like a huge role. And like the optics of that on camera have the potential of fucking sucking, where you have this like very competent, very smart, like we have so many Asian characters like that in movies that are like the driver, but they're also secretly kind of carrying the superhero along, or they're the, like we have all these examples. I kind of like that they're breaking that with Wong and being like, well, no, Stephen Strange went away for 5 years and Wong became Sorcerer Supreme. So now he's still Sorcerer Supreme and he's moving pieces on the board and doing things independent of Doctor Strange. He doesn't need to just be Doctor Strange's valet or lackey. Mm-hmm. Like, cause I don't know, like he should have some of his own agency, especially as like a sorcerer. Like he should have his own story arc, his own agency. And I'm happy that like the scene in Shang-Chi wasn't like a one and done throwaway of like, oh, let's just put the Asian in the de facto Asian film. I like that they kind of followed through with that. And they're like, well, there's a reason he was there. He's a Sorcerer Supreme now. Yep. He has bigger issues. So now he can have, more of a role than just, sidekick.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
I love that they also removed the line from the trailer. In the trailer, Wong is like,
where he was upset.
Don't do it, Strange.
Yeah.
And they took that's not in the movie.
You're right.
And I like the idea that he isn't like, I'm scolding you, Doctor Strange. Right? Like for some reason I appreciate that a lot more.
That's true,
than just
yeah.
like,
I forgot that line was missing. You're right.
It wasn't in the film. It was just him being like,
you better not cast that spell. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
You're right.
In the movie, he's just like, I got stuff to do, bro. So and he's like, trust me on this. And Wong's like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation. I was like,
he also there's a lot of like, I want to go back and watch the film because there's so many side comments or just like quick jabs that are actually hilarious, but there's so many of them. And there's so much like just quick, quippy dialogue throughout the film. Like Doctor Strange there, he's like, oh, remember when we did that party? And he's like, no. He's like, see, spell worked. Just small shit like that. It's like, that's great. That's fantastic dialogue. And I really enjoyed that throughout the entirety of the film, not just that moment as well.
You know what? All this means one thing that I'm so excited for.
What's that?
Again, we're going to get a red suit movie, dude. We're going to get Deadpool, Daredevil.
So, yeah,
Spider-Man. It's happening. It's happening.
I think the next film, Spider-Man 4, once like Tom Holland gets his money and stops going into interviews and being wishy-washy, I think once he gets his money and Spider-Man 4 is revealed, I think they introduced Daredevil the way they did because him and Spider-Man are going to team up and go after Fisk. If that's Spider-Man 4 and they like goes perfectly street level with it, because it's a full reset of that character. He doesn't have to go fight fucking aliens. He's a member of the Avengers, but they don't know who he is, so he's probably just going to keep staying in New York. He can go to NYU, he's get a GED. Like, it sets up for a lot of it.
The only story left that, like, hasn't been told already. We need it. Like, there has to be a Kraven movie, right? Like that has to be it.
Well, there's going to be symbiote for sure. Like, that's 100%.
Can we talk about, like, I don't know what your theater was like, but for mine, when Tom Hardy shows up and it goes through the whole, like, you are drunk. That whole thing.
I felt like I was watching a different movie all of a sudden.
Totally felt like it was a different movie. Felt really out of place.
It was
none of the jokes. Y'all are a little unfair.
I haven't seen those movies. It just felt weird.
It did. It felt out of place. And it, like, in my audience, none of it landed. People were excited Tom Hardy was there. People were excited. Like, they cheered when the scene started. But, like, all the goofs and gags felt like people were just watching it. And then only at the very end, when the little blob was there, were people like, oh, other than that, like, Tom, like, I don't know. It just doesn't. It does say a lot about the way Sony does their properties versus the way the MCU does, because there was not a lot of engagement in what was happening versus like the rest of the time I was in the
I think that whole thing was Kevin Feige saying, like, get the fuck out of here, Venom. I don't know how the fuck the MCU. Maybe I've read into it so much, but like, I think that was Marvel being like, no. You're going back. Get the fuck out of here. You're not a part of this. We're going to get a different character.
I feel like it spoke to like how small in scope the Sony films have been, because like that was a recurring theme with the Spider-Man too, where they're like, we don't have an Avengers. Like, wait, you guys are fighting aliens? I didn't fight aliens. Right. And then you have this Venom that's like sitting there. You have this Tom Hardy that's sitting there, and he's like, so this guy came and he snapped away half the universe for 5 years, and he's like to me that was fucking hilarious, because if you look at the Sony films, they've never done anything like close to that. So like it makes so much sense for him to like break that fourth wall and be like, you realize how crazy that is? You're sitting here telling me with an alien goop up my ass that some purple man came from space and snapped away half of the world for 5 fucking years, and him sitting there at that bar with
for 5 years.
Yeah, I thought that was I liked it. So I thought it was hilarious.
I'm hoping
it doesn't even seem like they're from the same world.
I'm hoping that bartender becomes Venom. Because that bartender is in Ted Lasso, and he's one of the main characters of Ted Lasso, which is why I immediately knew who he was and like was thinking, well, there's a symbiote there, and we kind of got a little bit of backstory on why he might actually be pissed off. And this guy said something about going to New York and meeting Peter Parker, so like maybe that's the new Venom. I don't know.
I like for some reason, I don't know what I was expecting from a second. Like a second end credit scene. I loved what we got, but for some reason, I, in my mind, thought for sure we were going to see, I don't know why this is what I thought. We were going to see, the like 2 Spider-Men where they're like, oh,
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was going to be 2 J. Jonah Jamesons meeting each other. But I realized, obviously, neither of them know who Spider-Man is. But one did. But for some reason, I was like, I want to see the 2 of them meeting each other and being like really up their own asses. Just like, oh, you're very good. Like, no, you are very. I don't know why I need to see that.
He's so good at that character. I was so pissed off every time he was on screen. I just got so upset.
That's such a strong character, though. Like, even in just that character across the universe, like even in the game, the Spider-Man game, hearing him with his crazy theories that he just is out here talking about the craziest shit on the fucking radio.
It's because it has real life parallels. I think that's why it's such a strong character. Because like, Marvel didn't even like back down. They fucking put supplements like in the film. They went right at Alex Jones, like 100%.
I was waiting for the G Fuel sponsorship. I was waiting for him to be like, don't forget to buy your own tub of G Fuel. My favorite flavor is raspberry. Yeah. Catch me on my Twitch channel next week.
That would have been hilarious if he was streaming on
about
Twitch.
Whether or not Spider-Man is shit. This libtard thinks he's not shit. I was waiting for him to talk about his Twitch channel.
It would have been hilarious if they did.
I was waiting, talking about playing Among Us with AOC. I was like, this man is ridiculous. They had a scene. Is this not the most relatable shit ever? Of him filming from a green screen in his fucking house.
Yep.
Love that.
And then the next scene, he's in a full-on like studio with a goddamn control room and everything. It was great.
What's fascinating about J.K. Simmons is it's the same thing with, everyone we've been talking about today, but specifically J.K. Simmons, I cannot see any other actor playing that role now.
It would
and
come
I'm
off
glad
too
they
campy.
didn't try.
It would come off too campy. He's the only one that can do it. I agree.
I'm glad they didn't try, and I'm glad they didn't try to recast Kingpin. I'm glad they didn't try to recast Daredevil. The fact that these characters it's perfect casting, and to do anything else would be a disservice.
I agree.
And I'm like thrilled that the MCU, at least someone somewhere there, has the knowledge to be like, all right, in our universe, we've had 2 movies with 0 J. Jonah Jameson, but he's going to be in the end credits for this one. What do we do? Well, we need J.K. Simmons. And everyone was like, brilliant. It's the only answer. It's the same thing with Wolverine. Like, I am really excited to see what they're going to do.
Dude.
God bless. I hope whoever they cast is like nails it. But there's a reason why for 20 years,
how old is Hugh
Wolverine was one man. Because sometimes you nail the casting so well that you'd be a fool to change it.
He's 53. I think he could still do it.
Who?
Hugh Jackman. He's 53 years old.
I mean, it's possible.
If he's playing like a grizzled Wolverine that like...
The problem is Marvel's not looking for a 53-year-old who then shows up in the next like end game at 63. Like they're looking for someone who's like 26.
Could you imagine
who can last for 20 years?
Like I think pop-off wise, could you imagine pop-off if he shows up in a movie? That'd be insane.
I would lose my shit.
That'd be insane.
I feel like I'm probably one of the few people in the camp that's just like, there's other X-Men, there's other mutants. I would just go with them and leave that one alone. I'm not saying we will never have another Wolverine, but those are such big shoes to fill. Like, I don't like those are the biggest shoes
That's
in the
why I'm
world
saying they got to get him, because I agree with you.
Bigger than Iron Man. Bigger than Iron Man, I would hazard to say. And that's a big claim, because I think for most of us, RDJ is Tony Stark. That is Iron Man. And anyone else stepping into that role just feels wrong, right? Like, and so I would say this is even bigger than that. Like, he killed it. He was a great Logan in bad movies. Right?
Multiple.
Like, multiple terrible
shittiest fucking movie. And you still can't say that man was a bad actor or did not sell that fucking character with horrible scripts and horrible films. You still went to see it because it was him. You know what I mean? Like,
could you imagine though, Hugh Jackman in an MCU film with MCU writing? He would fucking just crush it.
He would bring us to tears.
Oh yeah, 100%. It'd be insane.
Logan is one of my favorite comic book films of all time.
It's very good.
Like bar none.
I need to watch it again.
I actually put it above most of the MCU. That's how controversial my take is on it. That's like the film I'm crazy fan for, that I argue
I got to see Patrick Stewart say fuck. It was great. That was a great movie.
Yes. Like at the end of that film, when that kid, I'm going to tear up, when that kid takes the cross and turns it into an X, I have never cried that hard during any comic book movie. Any comic book movie, I've never cried as hard as when he took that cross and turned it into an X. That was the film for X-Men fans. Like that was our Far From Home. You know how like this is the movie, this Into the Spider-Verse is the movie for Spider-Man fans. Yeah. That was for us. Like it encapsulated what it means to be like an X-Men, what it means to be a mutant. Like it was just so beautiful. And this passing of the torch and how great they did X-23 and seeing, you know, Patrick Stewart like dealing with this like trauma of like watching people you love grow older. Like how traumatizing that is for all of us, like how real that is. That movie is perfection. So I don't think anybody can step into Hugh Jackman's shoes. I think we should just leave Wolverine on ice for a while. There's so many other great movies. Play some of them.
Wolverine's
because who the hell else is gonna play that guy?
That's a big question. Yeah, and I think
the danger. Oh, sorry,
I was gonna say, if you're Marvel, like in terms of popularity, I think there's Spider-Man. And then Iron Man, but you know, they can't do that anymore. And I think Wolverine's probably third in terms of just how big that character is on a global level.
I would put Wolverine above Iron Man. I think Wolverine is probably one of the
start. Yeah. And
most
I think it'd be
MCU
close
of all time.
Yeah,
or not MCU, but Marvel characters of all time.
Without
He's
question.
like
the danger with going to different X-Men characters is the same thing that I'm going to say the Amazing eventually Spider-Man ran out of like compelling villains, and as like fun as a dude who shoots electricity is, that's never a great main villain. It just isn't.
Well,
it never will be.
And
eventually you're gonna hit X-Men who are like not, you know, like we could say awesome, I can't wait to see more of Jubilee, but like unless you make Jubilee a character piece, her powers are lame. They're lame powers.
Well,
they're
there's
like
also cooler X-Men now that have just been introduced in the comics.
Absolutely. But you know they're not going to be like, oh, this X-Men from the last 5 years, we're definitely going to make the movie about them.
I think they could put like Mystic in there. Mystic would make a lot of sense in the current MCU. And she's definitely from the past, like what, 5-10 years.
We just need to figure out how they're going to put X persons in this.
Right.
universe.
They got to figure that out. I think Fantastic Four will definitely be before that. Also, here's another thing. With Peter Parker now getting his GED, possibly going to like NYU or Empire State University or whatever it is, that's where Johnny Storm goes. And so that could be a Fantastic Four thing where like he goes to school and meets, some of the Fantastic Four folk. Johnny Blaze, whatever it is. But yeah, like they could do a lot with that tie-in.
Fantastic Four easily fits into all. Like this is that setup's super easy. I would actually, for some reason, I was like, how does Deadpool get into this universe?
Deadpool's bizarre, man. I feel like I don't want Deadpool to like touch a lot of the bigger MCU characters because fuck, man.
I feel like the best way to do this is like whatever they decide for how they're introducing X-Men. If we had Wolverine show up again and it was Hugh Jackman, just for some reason
in Deadpool,
as the multiverse stuff, whatever happens, for some reason, Deadpool and like Hugh Jackman are like, and oh my God, what if it was just Hugh Jackman? Whatever the case may be, they're just like stuck in the MCU universe and they're like, all right, whatever.
I mean,
that'd be ridiculous.
Maybe that's how they do it. Maybe that's how they do it. They get Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds together because they're like really good friends.
I'm like, I feel like I'm so off on the sidelines of that. I just am not the biggest Deadpool fan. I never have been.
It's hit or miss, and I feel like
the Merc with the mouth, even the comic books, because they're just a little bit too much nonsense for me. And
but
so
I think Ryan Reynolds, again, going back to casting, perfect choice for Deadpool. It makes it fun. Like,
he just plays himself.
Yeah.
It works, you know. I don't know. Like I don't see what he would bring to the MCU that would be like.
How, Bronze? How do you not see Deadpool, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Spider-Man doing things, saving the day? Deadpool murders everyone.
Fucking off and just murdering people.
Taking up all the oxygen in the room.
It would be really hard to do that movie, man.
I see that movie being ridiculously fun. I want that so badly. I don't know how they would pull it off. They obviously need better writers than
I'm saying I'm like in my own world because I think he's fucking annoying. I think he's good for like 30 seconds and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
He can be very over the top. I don't know how he plays into the MCU.
Deadpool film was Colossus. Like I was like, Colossus! And that's kind of my take on Deadpool all the time where I'm like, oh, it's Deadpool. You know, like, okay, cool. Like he's gonna talk a bunch. That's
disagree.
His thing.
Jesse loves chaos, and Bronze recognizes that chaos in the MCU would be way too much. I think that's what's happening here.
Look, I'm depressed because I know for a fact, having watched the Doctor Strange preview that we get to see at the end of this movie, that they show Shuma, and I guarantee he's not going to be named. It's not going to be named Shuma. So he's going to be in the movie for like 2 minutes, and I'm really upset by that fact because that is what I want. I want to see a movie where that tentacle man's like,
unless it's a placeholder. That's not Shuma. There is a toy out already, and it's not named Shuma. It's named like
I'm aware.
It's named like Gorgonoth or something like that.
Butcher that.
I don't think they would spoil Shuma in the trailer.
Also, Shuma's like a giant, like cosmic size being, not like a little fucking car star guy.
I was gonna say, he looks pathetic and small and weak.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. I just want something wild. However, Multiverse of Madness does have a lot of like, did you watch What If? Which is interesting.
I don't think that's the okay. So let's talk post-credit scene.
I don't think it's the same, but I think it's a prep. It's like a prepper for like.
Since we're talking post-credit scene, I gotta complain.
Let's talk trailer.
I'm gonna complain.
Let's talk trailer of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
I'm gonna complain. I have to complain. I don't like that. I like the post-credit scene to be a post-credit scene, not a trailer.
Well, this is what they used to be. This is what they used to be. They used to be trailers.
I know, but I don't like it.
I thought it was great. I love the fact that I got to see a trailer.
I hate it. I would rather have like the Black Knight Blade reveal. Like I don't want a whole trailer at the end of the film. I kind of just like a nod or like an idea of where we're going next. I don't like the whole like Doctor Strange will return in 2022. I'm like,
this was probably a Marvel business deal where like, hey, this movie's gonna do very well. Put our trailer for our film at the end of it. However, I will say this: the reason I liked
like a wedding scene and like 40 other things. I was like, I don't want all this right now.
Here's
this is
why
something I want to pause frame by frame on YouTube later.
Oh, this is why I liked it, because you can't do that shit. You don't have to see, and I even make reaction videos. I don't have to see 4,000 reaction videos to a fucking trailer and see on Twitter everyone talk. I just get to see it in the theater on a giant fucking screen. Think, oh yeah that looks pretty badass.
They keep saying this one's gonna be a horror movie, and that didn't seem horror-y.
Oh, what are you talking about? Those beginning shots look straight up Raimi.
No, it didn't seem horror-y, but here's the thing.
Oh, I definitely got horror
it's gonna
vibes.
be messed up because, like Bronze was saying about the wedding, that's all like in his head. It's gonna be like, I love you, Doctor Strange. Your face is gonna be melting and shit. I'm gonna be like,
dude,
great.
Yeah, I know.
I feel
the
like
wedding
the entire
good.
camera shots were definitely out of like Sam Raimi, a horror film, where he's like slow walking in the thing and it's like the tilted camera and all that. It's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a fucking scary film.
Mm-hmm. Look, if we can get even just a little bit of Doc Ock on the operating table, excited, super excited.
Doc Ock on the operating table. What do you mean?
Do you not remember this literal horror movie scene that takes place in Spider-Man 2?
No, it's been 20 years, Jesse. I don't.
In Spider-Man 2, just, you know what? When we're done here, go look it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's there. In Spider-Man 2, when Doc Ock has his accident and he's on the operating table and the doctors are like, I guess we can buzzsaw it off his back. And they start to like operate and the tentacles come alive.
Right. Okay.
They murder everyone in that room and it's
blood
terrifying.
Everywhere. Yeah, I've seen that.
They kill and they do like the like shot of the woman screaming. It's just like, it's great. That's a great ass scene.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is more of that, please.
Yeah. No, I thought in terms of just the actual trailer itself and the stuff that's coming up, I loved almost everything I saw. There was America Chavez was in like over the shoulder of Doctor Strange in the door that they opened. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Did not at all. No.
Yeah, you could see she was in there for like a split second. The Shuma Gorath, not Shuma Gorath, obviously in the middle of the street was like front and center, so it's pretty hard to miss that. I love the fact that Mordo's getting like a new look, and they're kind of like reinvigorating that character, and he's definitely going to be a bad guy.
So many characters in it.
What? You just watched the fucking Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, but those characters all had their own movies, JP. Where's the America Chavez movie? Where's the Mordo movie? Like, we're talking about a bunch of characters that, like, even Doctor Strange has not had that much time on screen. Like, he's been in one film, and then he's been very small roles in other films. But, like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's Wanda too. So you're absolutely right.
There, yeah.
It seems like it's too much.
It's a lot of people in that movie.
Yeah, I don't know what's about to happen here. And I don't know, like you're right. How do they introduce a brand new character in this film?
Well, they introduce it by saying, well, shit, we got to go through the multiverses. Here's a character that can make a portal to a multiverse whenever she wants. That's her character. So
that's like
it kind of just fits what the thing they're looking for in essence.
But the only other time they've done that is the introduction of Spider-Man. But everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Right. No, it's a harder sell. You're not wrong about that. The other shocking thing is that film comes out in like 3 months or some shit.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That's where I was like shocked.
My
like,
dude cast a spell to stitch together. Like he cast a spell that rippled throughout the multiverse. If you think about it.
We did. Yeah. Twice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It makes you wonder why he didn't get involved with Westview. Honestly, he probably just didn't care.
It feels like they're going to address that somewhat. I mean, he definitely has that conversation.
I don't think he probably cared. Based off of how cold, and that's actually kind of what I like about him. He's like, okay, so there's more important things, and if these people die, then that's their fate, Peter. Okay, so that's it. That's it. And I almost like that Peter softens him a bit in some ways, where he's like, I miss you, kiddo. Because like it seems like at the beginning of the film, he's like, listen.
Yeah.
It also never got what like the whole arc of that story was a week, maybe?
Of what? Spider-Man? It was like 48 hours. Oh, WandaVision was around a week. Yeah.
Like a week, right? So Because they even mentioned at one point, one of the people that's being tortured says something like they've been that way for
That was
3
like a
days.
month.
Like,
I don't know if it
no,
was a
it's
month.
not that long. It's because there's a scene where one of the women talks about her child being stuck in their room, and it's been 3 days, she says. And so I think it's like.
So it says the series takes place roughly 3 weeks after the blip.
Right.
And
I think it's like, it's not that long. Because even the pregnancy is over the course of a day.
It says it's not quite clear how much time passes while she's stuck in the sitcom world, according to Monica.
Yeah, no, it's straight up just. But I think like because the episode short, when they get there, the episode when they get there, they arrive. Whatever episode is when you see Sword arrive, they arrive and there's like, a weird thing on the edge of town, and then it is, I don't know, like the first 2 episodes happen in the first day of them watching.
Yeah. I feel like they need to, rather than just answer journalism questions about it, journalist questions, there we go, that's the word I was looking for. They need to put out an official timeline of like when everything takes place. Because even this film takes place, there's no time between this and Far From Home.
There's confirmation now that it's a week. We're seeing people are saying that it's about a week is what people are saying.
They need to put out a proper timeline for everything. So that I could just go to marvel.com/studio/timeline or some shit.
So I can understand why Doctor Strange would be like, Sword's dealing with it. It's been like a few days. I'm not too fussed. Like, yeah, I think Bron's totally right. Where it's just like, I got something to do. I don't have time to go mess with that.
Yeah, I think it's also fine that like what she was doing at the start of that is fine. It wasn't until she straight up fucking started the whole multiverse shit. That's when Doctor Strange is probably like, wait, hold on, what the fuck's going on type deal. But who knows how much time that was.
There wasn't even multiverse. There wasn't even like multiverse shit.
What do you mean?
It was all just like witches being witches.
She like starts the multiverse portion. She like begins that whole thing. Does she not? Am I misremembering that?
What you're remembering is that video where someone synced up her and then Kang's death.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're remembering. And how people were like, oh, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Maybe so.
Man.
Maybe so.
This is time for Hotel Bronze.
Uh-oh.
I get tired of Wanda because of Wanda fans. Does anybody else feel this way?
I don't know what that means.
Wanda fans are like
I have no idea what that means.
People in the world. They're always on Twitter like, Wanda had Thanos pressed. Wanda could have soloed Thanos. I'm like, okay, so then why didn't she? He called rockets on her. Okay, so then she was defeated by rockets. She was defeated. But Wanda could do that. And Wanda could solo everybody in the MCU if Wanda wanted to. Okay, so why doesn't she? It's so annoying. And then every time she's on anything, the discourse starts up again. And that's gonna be like, Wanda is the most strongest Avenger. Wanda could body Captain Marvel. Wanda got hands, and I'm like, oh my god, just fucking shoot me. I cannot stand you people
that like pick a side, Xbox or PlayStation, and argue till they die. Right?
I know,
like,
but
it doesn't matter.
You don't see other people. Hawkeye fans don't act like that. Captain America fans don't act like that. It's always Wanda fans. Wanda, and it's just annoying. And like, Mephisto's gonna do this. Wanda got hands.
I feel like Wanda fans are just comic book fans.
Fucking hate.
That's all that is.
I fucking hate
Ron, you're gonna hate me.
So annoying.
You're gonna hate me.
Because I'm just waiting for them to be like, Doctor Strange came to Wanda for help. That's because Wanda's more powerful. I'm like,
oh, so that's the thing.
That's really what it is. The Doctor Strange fandom. Yeah, all right.
We got there.
No.
The truth comes out.
So you realize they said that about the. Man, y'all are boomers. You're not on social media. Because they said that in Endgame. It didn't even have anything to do with Doctor Strange. In Endgame, everyone was like, Wanda could beat Thanos.
I saw those tweets, yeah.
So then why didn't she? And they were like, well, because he called rockets on her. I was like, okay, so then he won. And they were like, no, because Wanda would have beat him. Then why didn't she? Old boy got his bindi popped out his fucking head and killed right in front of her. She didn't do shit, and you're gonna tell me she could have beat him at any point? And they will drive this point into the fucking ground. So I promise you, if at any point in that film she makes appearance, they're gonna be like, Wanda could have gotten Shuma out of the paint in 30 seconds. I'm like, then why didn't she?
They're living in your head rent free.
Because I hate it. I hate the.
They're buying a fucking another second house to go on summer vacation.
They are. I hate those people. They fucking annoy the hell out of me. I have to sit through another thread of why Wanda is the most powerful Avenger. I will shoot.
She might be. Who cares,
face, man?
Who cares?
I'm gonna make a thread. So
annoying.
Called "Why Yelena is the most powerful Marvel character."
I would officially stand. I would thumbs it up.
I'm gonna go on everything and be like, Yelena could have killed that guy. No problem.
I do it.
Mac and cheese. Could have killed him.
I would enjoy that. I
am the first official Yelena stan. Period. I want best Marvel.
No, you're second. I tweeted about it last night.
Whoa.
So I'm the.
I was thinking. I texted JP last week. So
also Jesse,
but I tweeted it, and it's not real if it's not on Twitter.
Jesse, I got to talk about.
You're right.
I got to talk about this because it's actually hilarious. Did you notice how when I tweeted that text conversation between the two of us, everyone thought you were me?
Everyone was like, damn, Jesse's going off. And I was like,
do you not know how what texts are? And that the right side is.
I guess I have a type. I guess
you're just the crazy guy and I'm the straight guy.
Also,
it's funny.
I love Yelena.
Yeah.
Period.
She's amazing.
We'll get to Hawkeye in a sec. We got to rank this first. Also, I do
Yelena is amazing.
I got to say this real quick. I just remembered it while you guys were talking about Wanda. For some reason, it blipped in my mind. Maybe it jogged my memory. Saddest comment in the entire film is when they're standing at Aunt May's gravestone with Peter Parker and
and Happy doesn't remember him.
And Happy doesn't remember him, but it's sad, not because of that. That just adds to it. It's sad because I lost a friend recently, is what he says. And he's talking about Iron Man. He goes, it wasn't easy. That shit fucked me up thinking about it in retrospect, because it's like a double hit of how shitty Happy's life is.
Yeah.
That he lost his best friend, and then he lost his girlfriend / ex-girlfriend, whatever was happening. I
don't know where Happy as a character goes. You know
I don't know
either. I don't know that he has a future in the MCU. Is that the last we see of Happy? Him just being sad?
I don't know.
Damn.
He doesn't have a connection to Spider-Man anymore.
I'm sure we'll see him in Ironheart.
You're probably right. You're right.
You're right.
And I think because he doesn't remember Peter Parker, that sets him up to instead take on the stewardship of Ironheart.
Someone else.
I'm pretty sure that's how that's gonna go. He's gonna.
Yeah.
That's gonna be his new Peter Parker, because Peter Parker's independent now.
Well, that was one of the things that I think there's gonna be just a lot, just like how the timey-wimey stuff introduced it, and just how the blip introduced a lot of stuff, is they didn't erase Spider-Man from what Spider-Man did. They erased the fact that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So Spider-Man still fought Thanos. Spider-Man was still on all that shit. They just didn't know who he was, right? That's how that all is. Okay. So there still is connection.
No, it would be like Spider-Man worked with
the Avengers,
Iron Man.
Yeah.
But Iron Man, it would be like if Tony never told Happy who Peter was. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where they clearly work together, but Happy would never know, oh, I need to go pick this kid up in a tulip field in Denmark. That's never going to happen.
I was reading people's thoughts on just the film in general and kind of what they think happens. Someone had a comment saying that their hope is that at the end of the next trilogy, since Ned has some affinity for magic, he realizes somehow that there's a spell that was cast, and he actually undoes the spell to some degree so that people know, or that he knows of his relationship with Peter Parker.
It's never happening.
That seems really grandiose, but I think it's set in stone. I think this is just how the films go moving forward.
I think that's wish fulfillment for people being like, I wish they could have had the perfect ending. But honestly, I think this is the perfect ending.
I think so
him as well. Realizing the danger it's the same thing every Spider-Man has realized. Every Spider-Man has had that moment of oh, by putting myself out there, everyone I know and love is in danger now. That's the thing. And so I think they nailed that that whole like he's walking away from his friends just to save them. I'm very curious about. I was just thinking, like, in the MCU, the only people that knew Spider-Man was Peter Parker, Tony, Happy, his friends.
Aunt May.
None of the other Avengers knew.
No, they did. Yeah.
So I don't
fucking Captain Marvel says, "Peter Parker, do you have something for me?" Right.
Well, that's because he says his name is Peter Parker to her.
Sure, but she still knew.
But no one else knows that he's Peter Parker.
Wasn't he?
Not that it matters now, but at the time, no one else knew, right?
Was he at the funeral?
Walked around like
he was at the funeral as Peter Parker, wasn't he?
He was at the funeral. You're right. Never mind. Well, maybe they didn't know his name. I don't know. I don't know what the rules of the spell were. I don't know. I don't know how it all works.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, my name is Dieter Darker.
Yeah.
Like, terrible name.
I still think we'll get a Daredevil Spider-Man team up and they'll go after Fisk. I think Fisk gets set up in Hawkeye, which we'll talk about. And I love the fact that he's going to become like potentially this big bad. Unless for some reason that gets solved this week in Hawkeye in the final episode, which I don't think it does. That would be criminal if they just like introduce him and then he's done after that. I think he's going to be sticking around.
He's the street level big bad.
Yeah.
He's the street level Thanos. And I love that they're, for as insane as it is that they're, again, I say this every week, I'm going to say it again. A man is coming out of the planet.
No, Jesse.
But I don't think that has happened yet, Jesse. I don't think that's happened yet.
But I'm saying, for as insane as that is, as insane as the galactic scale of Marvel has become, I like that they removed Peter Parker from that galactic scale.
Same here, yeah.
They pulled Spider-Man out of there, and now he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man again, and he can hang out with Daredevil, and he can fight crime, rather than it being like, Spider-Man must battle Galactus. Like, I don't want to... Spider-Man versus Galactus, I don't want to see that shit. That's too much. It's too much.
I agree. It's too big. It's too big. Yeah. I do think that they haven't said this, but I do think the end of Eternals with the giant spaceman appearing and both also being in the water, I think that's so far the like furthest we've been in the timeline. I think that's how they're going to get around that shit. But who knows? Because it is wild to me that no one's mentioned that yet in any of these films.
It has to be after everything that's happened so far, because no one has mentioned it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is a permanent fixture on the planet Earth forever. And then inside the Earth as well.
It up.
It's
important. Here's what I think, Jesse. Someone said this, and I'm going to steal
it. I can't get over it.
Someone said,
so audacious of them.
Someone
the audacity.
Said the idea that giant man is in the water is what's going to start Namor, and it's going to start Black Panther 2. Like, Namor's going to get fucking upset, or they're going to do something.
Are we even going to get a Black Panther 2?
Yeah.
Ooh,
with this recast, with everything that's happening, like, I feel like this film is stuck in production hell.
Look, it's not in a good way. I mean,
because they got Letitia Wright out of here, so now I'm like,
wait, is she gone?
Yeah, she refused to vaccinate, and so they said no. I believe I saw officially like.
I thought that they had paused filming.
That's because she was stuck in the UK because she couldn't fly. Yeah, because she wasn't vaccinated.
The thing was that the official statement was that, Jesus Christ, Hollywood Reporter, calm down with the ads. Good Lord, I can't even see the headline.
I could have swore like there was some
Black Panther Wakanda
they
Forever
won't film her.
Shutting down production as Letitia Wright recovers from onset injury is what they said. Oh. But the onset injury was because she was stuck in the UK because of COVID. That's like what people deduced. But I don't think they shut down permanently. I don't think she's being recast.
Yeah, they just it's literally stuck in production hell at the moment.
Yeah.
Where nothing's happening on it. They're not filming anything because literally utterly insane. I mean, like, all right, I guess people have their convictions, but that's dumb.
Yeah, I agree. It'll probably be our last movie for sure. The character will get sunset. All right, before I want to talk Hawkeye, we got to rank this thing.
Oh, really quickly, here is a quote. However, sources close to the production recently confirmed that rumors of Wright exiting Black Panther Wakanda Forever are false. According to THR, insiders claim that Panther 2 is indeed on track to resume production in late January in Atlanta. The sources also went on to add that Wright will, in fact, be present on set, essentially shutting down any rumors of her exit.
There you go. It's true.
I'm sorry. Somebody in Jesse's chat wrote that's fucking hilarious being casted as a super genius scientist and I wrote being a fucking dumbass. And that shit just fucking broke me.
Not wrong. It's not wrong. It's definitely a real thing.
That's a really I just saw that. That's very funny.
The more you think about it, the more it's just funny to me.
Yeah.
It's acting right there.
Brilliant scientist is like, I choose not to. Look, this is totally unrelated to Marvel, but this is the state of the world, and I just want to put this out there.
Uh-huh.
My dear friend Eric and I, when I was in Chicago, went to a museum. It's the place where they have the largest complete T-Rex skeleton, and it was amazing. But when you go to that section of the museum, it's sort of like a tour through time. And you start off and like the primordial soup, and you go through it was Sue, chat. You go through the different like ages of history, and you see every single like world-ending calamity in each mass extinction. One of them straight up is literally a video where it shows like 97% of everything died off due to a global warming scenario. And then literally to camera, it's like, sound familiar? Like that kind of shit. But at one point,
Jesus.
Right after you see Sue, there's a part of the exhibit that's like a meteor struck the Earth, and then it explains that like over the next million years, mammals appeared, right? We were standing there reading this, and a woman walks by, looks at it and goes, so a meteor hit the planet and then like mammals? I don't buy it. And walked off. And I was like, the what? It blew I was like, why are you even in a museum? You sat through 4 other mass extinction events and you were like, you know what? Those are fine. But this whole like space killing us and then like apes, I don't buy that. I was like,
you and I both know. You and I both know that she only cares about the 8th umbral calamity. Okay.
Black Rose. She has to prevent Black Rose.
She's worried about it. Okay. She's nervous.
Right.
Bronze has no idea what we're talking about. That's fine.
Are we assuming she is an ass?
Now I'm the boomer.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe she just got back from the moon. Who knows?
She here's the thing. When we went to the rest of the exhibit, she was gone. So she probably portaled out. She was like back to the moon.
Could be the case.
Haha.
Anyways, hey, let's rank this thing. We gotta put this on the list.
Number 1. I propose number 1.
Let me just recap. Eternals was 21. That's where we ended up with that. Also, I will state, and maybe this adds to where we put Spider-Man No Way Home. If you go back and watch like our review of pretty much anything after Endgame, well, I guess that's maybe when the show started. But like, I feel like in so many ways, what I'm trying to get at is this film has like reinvigorated the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Absolutely.
100%. I feel like it's back.
The last 2 films, I think for me, were kind of like, actually, that's a lie. Shang-Chi was great.
It was great.
But I don't think for me it was like, oh, I'm excited for Marvel. It was like, I'm excited for Shang-Chi. That's what it was. I want more of that, what I just saw, rather than now I'm like, I want more Marvel. And compared to Black Widow and Eternals, I think those 2 were like, oh, all right.
Didn't dislike them.
Oh, yeah.
But they definitely didn't like, they didn't make me like, fuck yeah, MCU. I'm so excited. Now I'm just like, let's go, Doctor Strange. Get out. Let's go. I got to see this movie.
This was a legit comic book movie. You felt like you were watching something that, I want to put this in a category of like generational film. I don't know how to describe it. This and Endgame and to an extent Infinity War are like generational films where it's like, this is a 20-year in the making film. It does not exist without the past 20 years of content. And, in a way you could almost say that about like what they're trying to do with Star Wars, but I'm not gonna. So instead, I'm gonna focus on this and say that I think this is like in a different category. So I think automatically, for me, it bumps it up to like top 3. And then based on the top 3 we have, I think it's the best one out of all 3 that are up there. I think it's the best of the 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's 1. I think we have a new favorite show.
Yeah, no, I think it's 1 as well. I will take this moment. I think that Into the Spider-Verse deserves its flowers. I understand it's not an MCU film, but I think Into the Spider-Verse also set this film up for success. I think it showed that this was like a good idea. And I think like, yeah, I don't think that film gets its flowers enough, especially like that reference where he's like, I just always thought, kid from Queens helping the poor. I thought I'd be a black kid. That was always my complaint with this version of Peter Parker. I think even when I talked about Homecoming, I was like, this feels like it was supposed to be a Miles Morales film that they put Peter Parker into. Like, because his vibe was so different than Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's. And I will say, I feel like Tom Holland has come into his own more, but I am still happy they made that reference because it did feel like it was a Miles Morales film to me.
Yeah.
That they just put Peter Parker in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If they had I'm gonna call Sony out. Sony, if you have the balls to do this, Into the Spider-Verse, the new one, or whatever it's called, part 1 of the new one, or part 2, I'll let you. You know what? You have time to put this in part 2. If they're like going through multiverse shit, if at some point we don't end up with them popping into a live action version where we get a live action Miles Morales that then becomes the Miles Morales of the future,
that'd be fucking
plus
sick.
A Gwen, plus like if they show up in Andrew Garfield's version, that'd be hilarious. Or they show up in like Toby's version, that would be hilarious to like have them just pop in and then like, oh yeah, no, this is Wink. This is who's going to be the actor for the future. Like you are missing a chance. Do it. Make it happen.
It's funny.
That'd
now.
Be amazing.
I like in a weird way, No Way Home kind of reshaped what I want from these movies. And now I just constantly think about like, what would be a great pop-off moment? Like seeing a live action Miles Morales and Spider, that'd be great. I'd be super into that. Seeing another fucking Wolverine pop up and it's Hugh Jackman, that'd be a fucking huge pop-off moment.
Like
casting, well, like we've seen that like it works. Like multiple Spider-Men work. Because I think for the longest time it was like, well, we already have a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Why do we need more than one? And it's like from what we saw on camera, I think we can agree. A lot of us would like to see Miles and Peter together. Like I don't think one has to come at the cost of another. Especially, could you imagine now that like Peter's in his like homemade suit? If we had Miles in like his little hoodie with his like Jordans on, that would just be the
Miles
cutest
is
thing
in
ever.
The universe. He's in universe.
Yeah,
well, we know his
the
uncle.
Two of them swinging around and like with Matt Murdock. Oh, that'd be so cute. I would love it.
Yeah,
I would. They're missing an opportunity not to be like to use the popularity of the Miles from the animated series to then introduce in the animated series a live action Miles that can then be in like.
I think so.
It makes so much sense.
I agree.
That would be amazing. That would be so good.
I mean,
and
we see Tom Holland even go into a bodega in Homecoming. And I was like, they could totally have a moment like when they're going to campus, like, while Peter's trying to get his GED or like just bumping into each other at a bodega and having that like Spidey tingle almost.
Oh, we didn't talk about that at all. The way that they do this, the tingle in camera in No Way Home was just phenomenal. Also, the fact that like when Doctor Strange kicks him into the arcane world and his body's still reacting because of the spider sense and moving the box.
That was the coolest shit.
Phenomenal.
That was the coolest
all
shit
of
I've
that
ever
shit
seen.
Is just great. It's so cool when it goes into the scene and he's trying to figure out which one of the 5 villains is like about to fuck shit up. It was so the way that was shot was like so claustrophobic and anxiety inducing. And then when he finally sees the Green Goblin hand and like calls it out, like that stuff was 10 out of 10. The best way they've ever handled that, for sure.
And I think that was a great moment of him being in a room with everyone. Like these are all threats to him, and he can't figure out which is the actual. That's great. That's super
great
cool.
editing. Cinematography in this was fantastic as well. We didn't talk about that. The shot of him going through the power lines was just an incredible shot. The shot of J. Jonah Jameson on that giant screen with him very center, or very little in the center. Phenomenal shot. Mm-hmm. There's just like the camera thing. That was the best conversation happening on FaceTime I've ever seen in a film. Like the way it was shot with their hands there in their faces. Usually you get like the little invisible blips or something where it like pops up and there's text messages or whatever. That's now old. This new way that they shot in this was great. It was fantastic. Sorry, I just wanted to mention all that type of stuff.
No, it was so good. I liked all of it. I even liked seeing like Strange and Spidey spar. I don't want to say fight because it was very clear neither of them were trying to hurt the other in the Mirrorverse. That was a lot of fun too.
Oh, it was great. He uses math. Like that's a classic Spider-Man thing, to use math and figure that out.
Can I ask a question? Just like maybe I didn't get it. Was there a reason why Spider-Man out of his own body could still react to
that was the spider sense.
Spidey sense.
But I mean, like, so danger. That's sure, but that's like a thing. I guess I was curious. Like, wait, so
it's like
just
instinctive. It's instinctive. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was like,
because he's not like pushing his soul out of his body. He's pushing his like consciousness out of his body. It's like almost like I viewed it as like a forced astral projection.
Yeah.
Because it's his unconscious reaction. It makes perfect sense. It was just one of those things where at the time I was like, are we about to learn something crazy about Spider-Man? Like, I just didn't know what it meant.
The thing is that's from the comics is really where that scene originated from. That's like a straight up callback to the comics or a thing that happens within a comic. So, but it was also just fucking awesome to see. Like there's so many small bits throughout the film that were all great.
I also love how Strange is so confused by it, and that's when you remember like he doesn't actually know what all the superheroes do because he's like, this shouldn't be possible. Like he just sounds annoyed.
He's just pissed off. Dude, it was also like that scene where he knocks him into the Mirrorverse. I was just like, oh fuck, like Doctor Strange is not fucking around. Here's a giant train that they're just riding through the goddamn Mirrorverse, and like now he's splitting the train, and he's actually trying to get this box back. He was not like pulling his punches whatsoever. He knew he had to fix it. To me,
it reminded me of when like my kitten does some stupid shit, and like
you put her in the Mirrorverse.
My kitten, yeah, but I'm also like, we're not playing anymore. You know, like you get kind of.
I get
seriously though, stop it.
I get it.
That's the vibes it gave me, especially because you can also tell he underestimates the hell out of Peter, and then that bites him.
Yeah,
he definitely underestimates this kid, and then is like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, there's like, it's interesting to watch him as a character. In the beginning, he's like, dude, we saved the world together. Like, you call me Steven. And he like has this respect for him where I don't think at that point he does underestimate him. And then he like fails to do basic things that Steven would have done. And he's like, oh, that's right. You're just a kid. Yeah. And at that point for the rest of the movie, he's like, fucking kids. And then at the end, he sees the sacrifice he's willing to make and is like, oh, God damn it, I love you.
It's a callback, and it works throughout the entire movie.
It works very well. It's very good. Yeah, again, this is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled that
there was,
isn't that such a heartbreaking line though when he says this is why I never had kids?
There's like, a lot of heartbreaking shit in this film.
Funny, but it was also like kind of sad to me because it was like, I don't know. It tells you so much about his, like, once again, that dichotomy where so many people were saying, well, I think Doctor Strange is going to become the new Iron Man of the MCU. Like that, when he says that, that's how you know he's not Tony Stark.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
For sure.
In that moment. Because Tony Stark did have kids and he did have that instinct. You know, he had a bad dad. And I think that's why he wanted to be a good dad for Peter. And I love Stephen Strange, but he does not have any of that. He's like, I didn't adopt this kid. I'm not ready for this. No. I'm not here to teach you life lessons. I'm not fucking Uncle Ben.
He's a brain surgeon. He doesn't have time for that shit. Yeah. I'm curious what you guys think of this statement and want you to pick holes in it. I felt like this movie in a crazy way, almost unheard of way, being 3 hours long, almost 3 hours long, and having as many characters that it did. I felt like this movie had no fat on it.
It flew by.
I was never bored. It was just always solid.
When we were in the final fight, I was convinced I was halfway through the movie and there was more coming. And I looked at my clock and was like, how? What? It's been 2 hours? I was blown away by how fast this movie
it doesn't
moved.
drag. It doesn't drag. That's which I haven't had that happen for a while.
Very hard.
Eternals had me checking my watch. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I actually put that as a mark against him when we were reviewing it. I was like, if I look at my phone during the movie, that tells me like this ain't great. And that happened to me during Eternals like twice where I was like, how much of this do we have left?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's why it ranks at number one. Chat was saying recency bias plays a role into this. I think it always will, no matter what, when we review a thing. There's just no way to remove that. But I still think it's number one, even without that.
At one time, long in the future, when Phase 4 is over, I'm sure we'll have like,
we'll go
all
back
right,
and,
let's rack it up.
Yeah.
Really quickly, just to answer a question from What a Fruit. Where did the black suit come from? The black suit was the inside out version of his current suit. That's what the inside of the suit looks like.
Green, yeah.
Yeah, because the green goop on it.
Oh, right. Okay, turns it inside out. I also thought that it was
because it wasn't like a special suit.
He was missing part of the nanotech as well that was on Otto's arms, right? That was also the other part of it? Or did he get that back? I forget the suit.
He got it back after he cured Otto.
Yeah, he got it back later, but yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. All right. It's 2 hours.
Just to be clear, he had two suits, right? Like he had the one suit that was the normal suit, and then he had the nanotech suit. And for most of the movie, he did not wear the nano because it was missing shit.
Yeah.
And the normal suit is the one he flipped inside out, and he didn't wear that one most of the movie because someone threw green stuff on it that wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
And so that explains.
And he also had like the Doctor Strange imbued suit. I don't know if that was a different suit.
It was just a cup. It was
it
was just a bracer.
Yeah. And then the homemade suit at the end, which was, a nod to the comic, blah, blah, blah.
It was the most suits in a movie since the Spider-Man game.
Yeah, true. We've been going 2 hours. Do you guys want a break or should we just jump into Hawkeye? I'm okay with Hawkeye.
Let's get it done.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's talk the Hawkeye. It's weird because I actually have to think about what happened
coffee refill,
in the old Hawkeye.
Let me tell you what happened in Hawkeye. Let me tell you what happened.
Let's do it.
It was like a family nonsense, and then 10 minutes of a perfect scene. I'm gonna say the most perfect scene.
It was pretty good
in a Marvel movie of Yelena and Kate just hanging out, and that was like it had the same vibe of the interview scene from Inglourious Bastards with exactly the kind of like charisma of that, like this Yelena
MCU
charisma
character.
Of just like, yeah, loved it. I literally have gone back and watched that scene 3 times.
She does this. Her accent borders on, for me, and everyone will interpret it differently. Yelena's accent borders on like being too, I guess, fake, almost cringy, and also just being very good. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much, because she'll say things like when she's like, "Oh, it's my first time to New York" or whatever, and she says it like kind of shaking or trembling the words a little bit. It's like, come the fuck on. Like, I fucking hate you so much.
Oh my God. But like
works.
the accent.
You know what? Listen, after the way we are not gonna pick apart Florence Pugh's accent
after
the utterly abysmal performance by Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, I
to
know
the point they made a joke about it in WandaVision. Like,
man, you're gonna get some Wanda stands.
So horrible. We're not. I think
guys,
Yelena's
please direct all
Florence
Wanda
Pugh's is better than that.
to @ThatBronzeGirl.
Do it. My block finger is itching. I would love it. I like it because like her accent was so bad they acknowledged it in the fucking universe.
Right.
At least Yelena's is consistent for Florence's, I should say. The actress is consistent for her character.
100%. I don't think it's bad. It just Go ahead.
Oh no.
I still think Scarlett Johansson did it the best. But
love it.
She's better as an Asian character, obviously.
It is so like it is so incredibly silly because her accent has like all the hallmarks of really tropey like 80s Russian accent.
Yes.
But she does a thing where she like her enunciation on certain words is clearly done for comedy, and it lands for me every single time. I can't explain it to you, but she's like, "Can't be a ship," and I like am dying hearing her talk every single time.
She sells it. She's funny. She's like a comic book character.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel real. Yeah, she doesn't feel real. Like she feels like a character, and I like that.
Yeah, she's like, "Are you done?" And she's like, "I love hot sauce." Yes, like that shit. I love it. Unabashedly love it. It's so much fun.
She chooses the scenery, but I like that she chooses the scenery. I like that. I think we needed that after, like, because Natasha Romanoff is so, like, it's such a different interpretation. I think we needed a character that chooses the scenery and acknowledges the ridiculousness of the character a little bit.
We don't want to have to hurt you, but we will. Like that. Like it's fine. But I think it's a comic book. Sometimes you need a character who is like fun. Just fun for the sake of fun and not just like, I'm
my
tough and I
favorite
beat
was
up
when
bad
she was
guys.
like, I came here unarmed. And then she's like, well, without weapons in my hands. And she's like, that's also a lie. I like how she just like keeps dialing it down. And then Kate's like, well, she's like, if I wanted to, if you wanted to kill me, I would be dead. She's like, exactly. Right before, as soon as I open the door. Yeah, I probably wouldn't even have a chance to close it. Exactly. Like it's like this general idea of like, yes, if she wanted you to die, you'd be dead.
And then the entire scene is very fun and very silly. And of course, then it flips on a note. It's like, I'm going to kill Hawkeye. And then she's like, why though? And she's like, how long have you known this dude? He's like, I don't know, a week. And that was very nice. And I was like, I could watch these two talk all day. But just to like, a little period at the end of it, she's like, all right, well, I'm gonna leave, I'll see you later, stay out of my way. And she goes to the window, backflips out the window.
That's her thing. Yeah, that's her. That's her move. That and like landing on all fours.
She stared her down.
Not all fours.
She like stared her down and went like, bye. That shit was so good. I need more of her in the MCU. Stat.
Damn, we got a Yelena stan here.
I'm just saying.
I gotta say, my only complaint, Jesse, is that this is just me. I feel like after her, I feel like she made everyone else kind of look like a schmuck. Maybe that's just me, but watching that fight
from acting,
between
you mean?
Clinton and Echo, what everything. I was like, after that, going back to Echo, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't care about her anymore.
Dude,
like I've moved on. We are on the Yelena train now. I'm sorry.
I don't
care about Echo anymore.
I'm jumping on a different point here, and I know Jesse's not dumb, but I'm just gonna say it. I don't understand how Echo is supposed to carry a show. I don't. She's got her own show, and I just don't. I don't get it. I don't like it. Someone in chat just fucking nailed it. Someone just said Echo feels like a CW character, and they could not be.
Yes.
Oh my god, that is
like
a perfect
Yelena is like
statement.
Dripping. She like that. All of her scenes were just dripping with like personality and character and all this stuff. And then we go into Echo's scene, and I was like, I don't know if it was the writing or what, but I was like, I don't care about the character. I'm sorry.
I think the difference is you're absolutely right, Yelena. Again, I'm going. This is my ship. I'm standing Yelena till I die. However, I think it's interesting that the episode where we meet Echo, the Echo-centric episode, I actually really liked. I thought that was done really well. The story
episode
of her and her, like
whatever.
the dude who raised her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was very good.
Are you talking about the opening scene where they show like she can't go into the school? Yeah. No, that was really good.
I think there's a lot of that if the Echo show is a more character piece about her, and we can even say about maybe the relationship between her and Wilson, and then like now that she's like, I hate this dude, because I think that's exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like, I hate Kingpin. Like, if we could get that sort of, because I feel like I would like to see D'Onofrio act like versus her. I think that'd be fun. But you're absolutely correct. This going from the Kate Bishop, like Yelena scene, and they're just eating. They're just talking.
Yeah, there's nothing
to like
happening.
Clint having a fight, and the fight is like, all right, okay.
The fight's
like,
good. I thought the fight was fine, but
like it's the stakes for
rough.
some reason. I was just like, I could have had a whole episode of just the two of them talking. That's how much I enjoyed that scene.
Yeah,
I loved it.
There was a disconnect in the final scene for me, especially like when he's like, shows her his face. He said, I want you to see my face, but if you ever come after my family, I'll kill you. I was just like, I don't.
I didn't.
For me, there was like a disconnect where I was like, I don't understand what the.
I thought the scene was fine, but I felt like it felt off, not from Clint's point of view. It was just the fact that like Echo's never felt like a threat in this series to me. And so like the fact that he's straight up just being like, don't come after my family or I'll fucking kill you. It's like, what is she going to do?
What is she going to do? And the scene before that, I believe it's the scene before that. He's talking to his wife.
Yeah.
And they established
Which
that
is
like,
I like
he's
that scene.
Worried.
The
I
two
love
of them
that
are
scene.
great. The two of them are great.
That scene was amazing.
Great.
That scene was brilliant. And they established that he's not really worried about Echo. He's worried about Fisk. He says in that scene, if I don't wrap this up, I'm worried that her boss will get involved, right? But then he goes after her and he says, like, don't come after me. And also, I'm like, why wouldn't you open with the bit about her boss being a piece of shit? Like, I would not save that info for the end. I feel like I would open that where I'd be like, listen, you and I have a mutual problem. It's your boss.
It's going to be what happens. Like, yeah, they're going to turn against them 100%.
That's what I mean when I say, like I said, I like the series, but the writing in places for me personally is a little clunky. And by clunky, I mean unintuitive, where it's like, why would you say, yes, I killed your dad, and then save that Kingpin bit for the end? Like, I would have opened with that and been like, listen, I'm here to parlay. Yeah. I'm here to talk. Let's chat. Especially like, yeah. So I like that he proved to her that he was Ronin by fighting her in the Ronin suit, because she might have not believed him. That's the thing. But I do feel like him saying, don't come after me or my family. I was like, I don't think she was going to come after your family.
I don't think you need to say that, Clint.
Like it felt weird to me where he's like, because I'll kill you. I was like, this seems out of character. You should like, but then him finally getting to the info drop of like, by the way, there was an informant on your side that sent me there that day, and it was Wilson Fisk. That part made sense to me. And it feels like the reason they wrote that so weird is because they wanted to hold off on the Fisk reveal. Here's the thing, we all knew, I think. So being their big bad reveal. And I think that's my kind of main complaint with the series is we clocked from episode 1 and knew for sure by episode 2 that like Eleanor Bishop was a bad guy. But then it's like her face and being like, and she's giving the phone. I'm like, we've been new. Like we,
I
think most of us knew. So
this was also wish fulfillment that ended up happening. Unlike everyone on the internet, I think we all forget that everyone on the internet, we even made fun of it during WandaVision, was like, "This is Mephisto, dog, 100% Mephisto." From episode 2, people were like, "It's Mephisto, y'all." And then like, and then even in the episode where they're like flies, they're like, "Oh, Mephisto, Lord of Flies, come on, easy, we got the like." I think we just lucked out on our wish fulfillment here. But with that said, Echo is very reminiscent of the Flag Smashers. A thing added that I don't think needed to be there to tell the story. And is like a threat that, like, the Flag Smashers exist to start the story, but then from that point on, from the start, they no longer matter. Well, and I think Echo exists to start the story, and then that point is no longer the main like 100%, and it doesn't matter anymore.
And she gets overpowered by the fact that she is the connection to Kingpin, and Kingpin is like, you know, breaking the internet type shit, and people are going to be like, oh, okay, well now here's a giant. I'm sure the next episode will focus some on Kingpin, but it's going to probably heavily revolve around Echo to some degree because it's got a starter for a new show.
Speaking of Echo and the Flag Smashers, I remember seeing during the episode where I think we all forgot this because the Flag Smashers were forgettable, but their masks were black and had a red blood palm print on them.
Yeah.
And when Echo gets blood put on her face, I remember seeing people be like, "Is she a Flag Smasher?" I was like, "Oh no."
Oh no, that's a callback to her costume in the comics.
I'm aware. Yeah, because she has a white. It's white.
But there's overlapping there, you know.
Yeah. It's like not well thought out between shows.
Echo did have a list of like Barton's kids and their ages in her apartment.
100%. But what is like?
Pose that exact. I think her
what
point
is she
isn't
actually
that, like,
going to do?
She doesn't pose a credible threat.
We haven't seen her do anything that actually exudes real violence.
And at that point in time, that list is there. She doesn't even know that Clint is Ronin.
Right.
She might have an inkling, but she doesn't actually know. So I don't think that, like, even if she did have a list of his kids and his ages and she was going to kill them, she's not spooky enough, I think, for us to be like, oh no, Echo's coming after your kids. Like
I'm actually going to look up.
And here's the thing. Narratively, Clint Barton agrees with me because he specifically says in his phone call to his wife that he's worried about her boss, not about her. Check and mate. Like, he makes it very clear that even he does not really perceive Echo as a threat. In the phone call prior to that, he's worried about her boss getting involved. He wants to head this off before Kingpin gets involved.
She's the lead of a future series, so there's no way they're going to make her do anything even remotely interesting that would affect her being seen differently than a hero in a new series.
Maybe so.
Like they just, she has to be a clean slate going in. So it's kind of like, all right, here's a character that you kind of know about and has a backstory and isn't going to do anything. See you in their series. And I think that you're right. It makes her kind of bland, and you're like, well, how the hell is this character going to take on a whole series when just showing up in this, she's not doing anything?
So this is actually fascinating to me. Has the show actually showed what Echo's powers are? Because I'm reading the wiki from her comic. The show is like doing her dirty. Like she's actually a fuck. This is from the wiki page of what her and maybe this is what happens in episode 6. It says Maya Lopez is an Olympic level athlete possessing photographic reflexes or the uncanny ability to perfectly copy other people's movements, similar to that of the Taskmaster. Just by watching other people, she's become a concert level pianist, a strong martial artist, a highly skilled acrobat, a gifted ballerina. In addition, she has also gained Daredevil's acrobatic abilities and Bullseye's uncanny aim after watching tapes of their fights. Along with great potential, deafness gives great drawbacks. Her absolute reliance on visual cues render her helpless in the dark. Kind of just goes on to basically say that she's like unbelievably strong. And we never got that.
Well, they hint. I feel like they hinted at it in her first episode because they show that one kid whooping this other kid's ass, and you see like this weird zoom in as she's like watching his feet in the martial arts scene. I feel like they hinted at it. So it could be that the reason she's so weak is because she hasn't fought somebody that's that good yet. Right? Like she hasn't, like, because Clint is good at a lot of things, but he's not a famous martial artist, right? Like if she had fought, if she fought somebody like Taskmaster or like, Daredevil or like Bullseye, then she would pick up, or even Natasha.
Well, she
right?
did
like
fight
if she
a
were
widow.
to fight Black Widow. So we might see. I'm curious to see if they show her
learning that,
pull out like a Black Widow move at the last episode. I'm very curious because you know how like they do a lot of those flippy leg lock like moves. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if we're gonna see her pull something like that out, because I feel like that martial arts scene when she's a little girl, I feel like they were trying to plant that seed of like she watched this kid beat this other kid, and then she's so much smaller than him, and she kind of like, I feel like she learned like how he moves and then copied that.
Yeah, maybe so.
That the way they set it up though is not that she has a special power or the ability to copy people. What they set up was her caregiver, her father figure, taught her to watch people because that's how she has to get by in a world where he can't afford to send her to like an all deaf school, or he can't like she's cheesing her way through life by looking at what people choose not to look at or people ignore. She's hyper focusing on all that stuff, and so she can read some lips. She can see the way people fight and like use that against them, but it isn't a power. They just like really focused on like she's very observant, which I guess I don't know. She did push a man through. I think she pushed Clint through a wall at one point, or at least out a window when they were fighting in that warehouse.
Oh yeah, that was the window. That was through the window of the office.
I don't know that means that she's like super strong. It's just like
she didn't have super strength or anything. So
yeah. So
we'll see.
I think I do think they've done her
there was
disservice.
a couple of scenes where she caught the sword on her shin too, and I had that moment where I was like, "Does that mean Clint would have chopped off her leg if she was?" Because she has a prosthetic.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's a moment there where I was like, I feel like I saw a frame. Maybe I mistook it where she like caught the sword or deflected the sword with her shin. And I was like, I had this moment where I was like, did he remember that she has a metal leg, or was he? That happened very differently.
Look, Clint sometimes goes a little red and just loses his mind.
Maybe he
remembers.
It did not seem like he was pulling his punches with that sword, where I was like, you're lucky she's got some metal bits. Otherwise, this would be a very different scene.
Yeah, for sure. Couple other things that I liked from the episode. I loved the arrow that was just served to send a note. I thought that was real stupid. I thought it was really, really good. I liked it a lot. We skipped over. Jesse was so excited about the macaroni scene that we skipped over the blip in the beginning. It was a great blip moment.
I
that was very
love
cool. Too.
It was probably the best one that we've seen so far. I loved how they changed the wallpaper as she was like coming back from the blip. That was really fucking cool. And it also explains a lot in terms of what happened in the actual MCU to the Yelena character and why she wasn't there, etc.
I also love that they went to go free a widow, and they hit her with the gas, and she was like, "What are you doing? Stop!
You ruined my
rug."
like,
you love to be. I love it. Like that she was just like, "I married this dude." I'm like really happy. I was like, "This is great."
Yeah.
There's something about this that's like super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, even though none of the episodes have been perfect, episode to episode with this series, it's only gotten better.
100%.
And I think that's like, I feel like that's a unique thing for the TV show versions, where I feel like, and this is probably goes back to the idea that this definitely was at one point.
It was definitely a movie
cut up.
It was 100% a movie. Yeah,
it's only getting better over time, and I appreciate that. Like, it makes me appreciate the earlier episodes more as it gets better, but also it makes you again go back and look at other characters like Echo and be like, what are you even doing in this show?
It makes me think.
I feel like there's a lot of filler. I think that's my main complaint with the show, is that there's scenes that it feels like they wedge them in because they don't make that much sense to me. Or maybe it's because I saw what was happening come from like a mile away. But even that weird scene, like all those scenes between Kate Bishop and her mom just feel awkward to me. I do not believe that that's mother and daughter at all. You are
200% correct. Again, this feels like a 2-hour movie. That they were
when
like,
old boy got fucking arrested, Jesse, were you also like, what? And she was like, you were right, Kate. And Sloan Enterprises was by him.
Yeah.
And I tell you, when he got arrested,
I'm sure this is. I would have also called the police. I'm sure this is.
I loved him even more. I don't even care what anyone says.
Holiday party.
When he got arrested and said that, he was like, "It's a terrible mistake." I was like, I actually enjoy this character. At first, I thought he was a big goober, but I loved him.
But her reaction of like, "You were right, Kate." I was like, okay, so we're 100% sure on this being the villain, right? Like,
100%.
She's so obviously the villain. She's so obviously the villain.
It's also weird because the actress, is it Vera Farmiga, I think is how you say her name? She's actually like a very, very good actress.
She's an amazing actress.
And so I don't know like why that.
That's direction.
She's not a bad actor in the show.
He's sinister.
Yeah, it just comes off like so weird.
She's not a bad actor in the show. It's just that like the scenes they put her in are insane. Like, and Bronze, I think you're totally right. I think the idea is like they had a movie that was 2 hours. They split it into 6 episodes, and then we're like, okay, but each one has to be 40 minutes. So let's like add stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's a skeleton of like, oh, this is a great Christmas movie, like a Die Hard-esque Christmas movie.
But we got Disney Plus now, and we need 6 weeks of
other bits
show.
To it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to put in
exactly
Kingpin the same week that Charlie Cox gets announced as Daredevil and he's in the Spider-Man movie, and we'll have some brand synergy. Yeah, 100%.
You know what? And they did it in like the stankiest way possible, where they knew what they were doing. They're like, we're not going to actually put Kingpin. We're just going to show a photo. They're going to get Charlie Cox, and then Kingpin's going to be in the show.
No, that's
like
that's like you say stanky, I say
I'm not
smart.
Gonna lie.
I hate
that it was a fucking photo. I'm going to say
I hate
that it was a fucking
Agreed.
photo. Give me a phone call. Give me a something.
You'll get him next week. You'll get him in 2 days.
Give me a Thanos style turning around a chair, a photo, and the big drop is like, but Eleanor Bishop was in that photo.
Here's the thing. Let me tell you this
already.
Let me tell you this. How excited are you to see him speak on Wednesday?
Not that excited. I mean, we know he's going to be there.
You're out of your damn mind.
You're out of your goddamn mind.
You're out of your mind.
Listen. We're talking about a character's on-screen reveal. It's not about excitement. It's about that on-screen reveal is so cool. And his was a photo. It does kind of suck.
It also you gotta remember that not everyone's seen the Netflix films or the Netflix shows. So to a lot of people, this is the first time actually seeing Kingpin. Sure, the internet lost their goddamn mind over it, but still, they haven't seen the Netflix shows. There's a reason they were canceled.
The biggest problem was the fact that the photo was so shit that I couldn't believe there was Vincent. I had to wait till the end credits to see his name and be like, "Oh, that was him."
Oh,
that's
dude,
how bad that photo was.
You didn't catch on with the Grinch playing and the giant like cutout.
No, I mean like I got it because they literally said who the character was.
Sure,
but I didn't. I was like, "Is that Vincent?" And it took to the end
seems
credits
like they were still trying to keep the door open for it to not be Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes, exactly. I was like a little worried. I was like,
"Oh, I didn't." You guys
Early
gotta get a bigger
2000s cell
TV.
phone quality photo. I watched it on a huge TV on 4K. It was not great quality.
For me, I
I
was like, oh, that's Vincent, 100%. No way.
That's because we're looking for Vincent.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
I was expecting them to do another like it's actually Ralph.
You know, I think that's why I was
it's the Juggernaut. Oh no, he's the big bad.
I think that's why I was so annoyed by that scene where the sword dude gets arrested.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I thought there was going to be a moment where Vincent D'Onofrio was going to come out of the back room and put a hand on Eleanor's shoulder and be like, "It's all right. I'll make sure that I'll make sure that this is taken care of."
Well,
that Kate would make eye contact with him, and we would have this moment where it's like, she doesn't know who he is. Yeah. Oh my God, that's Kingpin. I thought in my head, I was like, when they were taking that dude in cuffs, I was like, here it comes. Why was this scene even in here? I think that's part of the reason why I hated that scene.
I was like, the scene exists because Kingpin's going to get him out, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, I took care of that. I got him out of prison. That's the whole reason why that scene was there.
It'll be all right. I will get this sorted soon, my love.
What?
I love him.
That's the worst.
I love Jack.
Kingpin.
Oh, that was Jack.
That was Jack.
That's Uncle Jack.
I started to say. I was like, what the?
I love
fuck?
Jack. I love him unabashedly. What a just fun. Again, I think I've started to just fall in love with fun characters.
Just
I think I'm
crazy
over
characters.
Marvel characters being like super like, my name is Slayer Man and I'm a slayer of men. I'm like, nah, what if it was instead like, imagine him and Yelena in a scene together, just all full on accents, full on over the top. I would be like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Give me some, speaking of Russian accents, give me some of what's his name? The Red Patriot. Get him in here. Talk about crazy characters.
She even mentions her dad, which means he's still around.
He's still around. I want to see more of him. Get him interacting with fucking Andrew Garfield or some shit. I guess he already dealt with the Rhino, so maybe he already had a crazy. Rhino was Russian, right? I think he was.
I mean, yeah, kinda.
He was
whatever the hell he was.
Yeah.
He was like Peter Parker. Oh, look, Paul Giamatti's amazing, but why he was cast in that role is beyond.
Oh my God, I forgot that was Paul Giamatti.
It's Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti's great, but not in that role. I don't know what they were thinking.
Fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, who's the bat? Is it Rhino and Lizard again in Amazing Spider-Man 2?
No. It's
Rhino, Electro.
Yeah. The problem. Look, let me just remind you. The character,
I've only seen that movie once.
Like the guy. Oh, I've only seen it once too, but I can't forget it. The character who becomes Rhino is not Rhino at all during the movie until the last 2 minutes when he's the villain that shows up, and then they like go to punch each other and it cuts to credits. That is like the hey, we'll see you in the third movie, and there was no third movie.
Oh,
no
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's what happens. You got me worried that's not what happened, but I'm pretty sure the end of that movie is he shows up on the street and he's like, and then they like run at each other, and that's it, and that's how the movie ends.
I don't remember that.
There is no actual Rhino in the film at all. It is Electro who is upset that Peter Parker didn't go to his birthday party. I think is what the premise of that movie is.
Yeah,
and
Chad's saying that's what happens. Holy shit, I don't recall.
And then
that
Harry
at all.
Osborn is like the lamest like.
Who plays Harry Osborn? I need to go watch this movie again. I forgot everything from it.
The dude from like something of 1,000 Planets, that actor, whatever that guy's name is. He's because Norman Osborn spends the entire movie in bed with like green flakes on his face. He's like, I'm the Green Goblin, but I don't do anything.
You're lying.
It is.
I
It's
gotta
a
go
terrible
watch
movie.
I gotta go watch this movie again. Man.
Let me
Holy
say it again.
Shit.
Andrew Garfield is not the problem with the Amazing Spider-Man movies. It is casting is shit. The story is shit.
Oh,
the
Dane
villains.
DeHaan. Okay.
The villains they chose are garbage. The story of the villains is garbage. The Goblin story arc makes no fucking sense. And all it exists to at the end of one of a post-credit scene, I think, maybe, they show all of the machine bits that are gonna be used to make the Sinister Six. And that shit doesn't go anywhere. It is bad. It is bad.
I'm gonna have to watch that this holiday season. We're going back.
Oh.
We're going back.
Oh. you're gonna regret it. I'm gonna let you know. You're gonna be like,
no, I'll enjoy
Garfield.
Garfield. I enjoyed Andrew Garfield the first time I watched those films. He was definitely the best part for me. Anyways, Hawkeye predictions. What do we think episode 6 has in store? I think full Kingpin reveal obviously has to happen.
Sure.
I think we're gonna get a character moment for Echo of why she's interesting and what she can actually bring to a show. She has to have that. Because if they announce she has her own show, that thing's gonna be dead in the fucking water. Unless they announce like, oh yeah, they're gonna team up with Spider-Man or some shit, or Daredevil's gonna be in here, something like that. That's how they get people to watch that show. Because I don't think it could be with Echo right now.
It's gonna be an hour long, and 50 minutes of it is gonna be an action scene. I'm letting you know right now. This is the end of a movie.
An hour long?
I don't know, but I'm gonna say like I'm gonna guess it's 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever the case may be. Like, I don't know, 10% of whatever we're getting is gonna be like, we should have a talk.
What?
Everything else is gonna be an action film.
Do you think that they would put Daredevil in it?
No.
You don't think he has any reason to just like pop up? It's too much like
too much takeaway. This is going to be an introduction to, Fisk as like an entity in the world. I don't think he's going to be a big thing in it. It's going to be about them trying to, like Kate's going to have to deal with her mom being a problem.
It's 40 minutes, by the way. 40-minute episode.
Great. This is literally an action film. It's going to be, all right, 30 minutes of an action movie. It's going to be more like the car chase.
Well, okay. Here's, if we think about it logically, they have to get Yelena to help them, right? Is she gone or does she come back in episode 6?
I think we're going to have the 40. I agree with Jesse. It's going to be 40 minutes of action, and a lot of it's going to be, Yelena, please listen to me. No, he killed my sister. No, yeah, Yelena,
we can't please, just like
you
start.
Don't understand. Wilson Fisk is using you.
We can't start the episode being with like, the fight, though.
Fisk? Shh, shh. Like, it's going to be like that type of thing. And
I feel like Yelena, I feel like what they
if only everyone would stop for 2 seconds and listen, then maybe this could be resolved, but it won't, because that's not going to happen.
I think the whole Yelena and Echo storyline is they're both going to realize that Kingpin's a piece of shit. Like, because even Yelena sends her the text message right away. Because she sends at the end of the episode, she sends a text message that's like, "This is who hired me," and it's like, "Oh, it's your literal mom and this villain." Right. And I think that's going to be like, that's an easy jumping off point because they have the text message and they can go to Yelena and be like, "Let's work this shit out now."
Yeah, what's the I guess then the next question is, do you think Yelena
we think Clint is gonna die?
Yeah. Does Yelena kill Clint?
No.
You think she gets
the last
close?
The last scene is Clint literally walking in for Christmas.
With Jesse, sing the song. What song is it? What Christmas song? I'll Be Home for Christmas?
That would be sweet. That would be very sweet. I was going to say It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, but that song's already been played at least 2 times.
That might be the song, though, because they have the rights to it already.
It's true.
Could be.
But 100% he comes in. You know what? What is the song? What if instead they use the It's a Wonderful Life theme when he's like, "Hi, movie house," and he like sees all his kids at the end and they like hug. Look, all I'm saying is they're 100% going to like he's fine.
It'd be Silent Night.
That works too.
If it's a somber, if something somber happens, it will be like a Silent Night or something like that. Like
I think
what
Silent Night
if
works too because he literally like imagine Silent Night being like he finally gets to rest and they play Silent Night and then he pulls out his hearing aid and it just goes completely silent and that's how they end it. I would be like,
oh, it's not bad.
Art.
So let me ask you this then: does anyone die?
No, her mom gets arrested. She has to deal with the repercussions of like her mom getting arrested, and Jack is the person who now controls the estate. Watch it happen. Watch it happen.
I think Kate ends up at Christmas with the Bishops, or with not with the Bishops, with Clint's family, the Hawkeyes.
That'd be cute.
I think that's how that's gonna. Guys, this is Kate Bishop. She's gonna be spending Christmas with us. Blah blah blah. And then the wife is, the nice person. The kids are like, "What the fuck, Dad? Like, who the fuck is this?" Type deal.
Oh, I guess Kate would inherit everything, and she would become the like Batman.
Could be.
Because Jack isn't married to
Right.
yet.
I forgot they aren't married yet. Yeah. But I think that's weird. Never mind. I was gonna say, like, it'd be fun if, like, Jack was a character, but, like, no, that's weird.
Jack
the guy
has
who's
to be
gonna
a
marry your
character,
mom
though.
stays around.
He's definitely the swordsman.
It's weird though.
He's definitely a swordsman, right? Like, there's no way he's not.
He runs the company, right?
Maybe I feel like they're trying to pull a Zemo and make him just more likable, and give him more personality, because the concept of the character is boring, right? But then, like, I feel like they've done such a good job of, like, making them interesting via, like, personality and character building.
Mhm.
And I will say, like, Jack has been on a trajectory to where I do think we will see him again, and I think he's going to be kind of a gray character. But I think Eleanor, I think her name is Eleanor. Yeah, I think Eleanor Bishop's out of the picture. I think, like, she's going to be in jail for a majority of everything, and then maybe we'll see her at some point in the future.
That or she does the whole, like, criminal thing and becomes like an underground villain, like Kingpin's right hand lady or something. Maybe.
Right.
But don't we already have that for the Carter girl?
What?
Broker.
Oh,
yeah.
The girl from
It's
Seinfeld?
kind of similar to that. No. The I literally can't think of her name.
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that like very similar to that?
I think she's more on like a global scale than like a street level scale, but I do think this is all a giant setup for Armor Wars. And I think that's what the Watch is. The
Watch hasn't come up yet again.
The Watch is 100% an Armor Wars thing. I think that ends up in Julia Louis-Dreyfus's hands at the end of it somehow. Maybe Yelena steals it or something and gives it to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That's how that happens.
I think that's how that story ends, is she ends up back with her. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then she says, like, did you kill Clint or something? And something happens there. I don't know. Like, I guess if she gets told that, like, what actually happened, maybe she gets upset at Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I don't know.
I think maybe it'll be one of those things where it's like, you know, he won't be a threat anymore. And then cut to him, like, walking in the door of his home dinner. And he's like, yeah, and he's just like,
that's
done.
Probably, I bet you that's good. And maybe what if this is the last time we ever see Hawkeye? Do you think he shows up again?
I think it's maybe for like I'm here to help you, Kate, but I think he's like out.
I think he's done.
I think they're trying to phase him out, because hasn't he
passed the torch?
Hasn't he gotten in trouble with some stuff?
I mean, he's had some like jank ass opinions, but look, they're still making, the Black Panther movie, and like,
no, doesn't he have a physical abuse charge?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Jeremy Renner. I couldn't remember his name.
I thought
he does.
There was some hubbub about. I'll look it up. I could have swore there was some hubbub about. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ex-wife Sony Pacheco, who claims she's a victim of the actor's abusive ways in a 2019 report from TMZ. So I don't know how reputable it is. Yeah. Pacheco claimed that the actor threatened to kill her and even put a gun in her mouth amid their custody battle. So I obviously this is all alleged, but I just assumed they were going to set it up to where they don't have to bring him back if they don't need to. Because
it's definitely not a.
I just remember seeing something on Twitter about it where it was like Jeremy Renner was like trending or whatever. Kind of the same thing with like the Johnny Depp situation. Like misinformation spreads as fast as information now. So like controversy is enough to get a company to like not want to associate with you anymore, even if you like clear your name.
I mean, I don't know. It says this is November 18th was when this came out. We're straight up reading page6.com. Jeremy Renner is brushing off his ex-wife Sony Pacheco's damning claims that he once threatened to kill her. Quote, I don't respond publicly or privately to nonsense, the Hawkeye star told Men's Health in an interview published Wednesday. It only empowers it. If you respond to it, you give it gas. I don't feel shit fires. I just don't do it. I refuse to. That's all he said. So, yeah, Disney might be saying like, all right, well, we're going to move forward and get away from that for a little while. It could be true. But I also don't know, like, I don't think Kate is ready just to take up the mantle of Hawkeye right away. I feel like that seems a little sudden.
Yeah, no, he'll be around, but I think the focus moving forward is on a younger actor who can carry stuff. Again, most of what we're gonna get is like the next 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And so they're gonna start phasing out people like oh, our Thor, goodbye Thor, you know, like that kind of stuff.
Jesse, you want some?
Less
I
and
don't
less
think
of
he's
those.
going to get phased out, only because I think he's going to play that role till the end of time. But
I
you
mean,
want chaos,
he wants
Jesse?
to, and I'm here for it.
Here's chaos. You get Yelena, you get Kate Bishop, and you get Tom Holland as Spider-Man in the same room.
Great.
Absolute chaos. Absolute fucking Zoomer chaos right there.
That sounds, you know what? Look, welcome to getting old. Everyone's a Zoomer now.
It's true.
Everyone in a movie, there's going to be a moment where literally today on Twitter, there was a trend going on where they were comparing two sets
Falcon, you're right.
of young women. I recognize one of them being famous for something, but one of them was Zendaya, but like the other three, it was two sets of women.
I recognize,
and they're both from like Nickelodeon or Disney shows or something. All I know is it was all these people fighting over which pair was better, and I realized I had no idea which either pair was. I had no idea, and I was like, well, yeah.
Oh, like the fan castings for Black Cat and Gwen Stacy?
No, I think this was just in general from like the child actor.
Yeah, this is just like people from Disney shows, and there's clearly I recognize them as existing. I don't know who these people are, but I like know of them, and it's people literally just. Does Jesse know who Olivia Rodrigo is? Only in that she's been forced down my ears for the last.
Have you heard the radio?
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
You know who that is?
People listen to radio?
Yes.
Olivia Rodrigo just remade a song that was made.
Do you not have Bluetooth in your car?
10 years ago.
Even if you have, I mean, I guess unless you're like very targeted in your music, then you probably don't know who Olivia Rodrigo is. But
all you need to know is
playlist, baby.
She's everywhere.
It is very famous people that I don't immediately recognize. Is all I'm saying. Which is the curse of every single person on planet Earth. There'll become a time when people are into things. When you're like, it's the kids who are wrong. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to everyone.
I'm happy I live in a bubble. I'm happy. I'm like blissful.
I mean,
you've always been that way, though.
Olivia Rodrigo is not bad music. I mean,
I'm sure she's not. I just refuse to believe there's someone prettier than Zendaya. That's the you guys are smoking crack. Have you seen her?
Understood.
I'm
we
just
get crack off the streets. People are out here like, oh,
good for Tom
better
Holland.
pair,
Good for Tom
Zendaya.
Holland.
Fucking Zendaya. Do you have eyes?
Also, can we talk about? Look, I'm not a short dude, but to all my short dudes out there, thank God Tom Holland is like,
yeah, good for Tom Holland.
He's repping hard. He is like literally when they ask him like, what's it like dating Zendaya who's taller than you, and he's like, shut up, that's dumb, and I'm like. Get him, Tom.
Dumb.
It is.
You're right. It is dumb.
Listen,
it is dumb.
I'm gonna keep it 100 here.
Oh.
If Stephen Strange looks me in my eyes and said, "You could save the universe, but Zendaya will forget that she fell in love with you. You're gonna have to court her again," I'd be like, "Bye, universe."
You wouldn't get the chance. I don't.
Have you seen the way she looks at him? Have you seen the way she looks at him? Especially when they kiss each other goodbye. You're gonna give that. I would have been like, never mind, Strange. I changed my mind.
Did you also notice how they make sure that they actually can't get a kiss in, just interrupted the entire movie until that last kiss to make it more impactful? It's fucking great.
Did you?
It's great story.
Recognize? Look, all you need to know is
that last kiss, that broke my heart. When he walked into that coffee shop and I would be like going back to Stephen Strange, undo it, undo it. I need MJ to love me. You undo that shit right now.
Spider-Man, you motherfucker, let me in there.
You want Zendaya to look at you the way she looks at Tom Holland, but what I want is Tom Holland to look at me the way he looks at the Watch Mojo lady, because that interview is hilarious.
Wait, what?
Have you seen that shit?
No.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
There's an interview with it's the three of them, and the lady from Watch Mojo walks in. And they lose their minds, and Zendaya's watching them like, what the shit? It's hilarious. And they're like, say the line. She's like, you're watching Watch Mojo. And they're like, ah! It is hilarious. I want that. that relationship. I want the Tom Holland who loves me as much as he loves Watch Mojo.
I'm seeing this without audio. What is Watch Mojo?
It's like a YouTube channel that literally just does top 10 lists, pretty much.
Oh,
they have a voiceover lady.
Some of them are like so bad they're hilarious. Where it'll be like, Watch Mojo's.
They're losing their mind.
They'll have
Watch
some
Mojo is just like synonymous with, like, they put it on airplanes, they put it in the back of taxi cabs. It is straight up just like a thing that exists.
Is it a YouTube channel originally?
Yes, it is. It is. Imagine the most bland content you can think of, but it's so packageable because it's literally just like Watch Mojo's top 5 dumb movie trivia, like that kind of thing. And so it's like super packageable and marketable, but it is the blandest content you will ever see. And the fact that they like are hype as shit for the woman who's interviewing them because she does the voice for Watch Mojo cracks me up.
Yeah, no, I'm watching them lose their shit. It's on Watch Mojo Dutchland. However you say that. It says Tom Holland.
Whichland?
Yeah, for Watch Mojo.
Oh, it's so good. That clip is so funny. They cannot believe it's her.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay. I gotta add one more thing about Spider-Man. Can we just acknowledge that this movie fit all this in and still managed to have 3 great Flash scenes? Because that dude fucking cracks me up.
So, did you notice the title of the book, by the way?
No? What was the title of the book?
Title of the book that Flash wrote? Flashpoint.
Yeah, I love that. That was awesome.
I actually didn't.
I saw that and I started laughing, and I was just like, "Fuck everyone!" No one knows why I'm laughing, but I'm just gonna laugh because that's hilarious. That's like, that's just fucking stupid.
Douchey character being like MIT.
Yeah.
The best part about that entire Flash storyline.
I fucking died. I was like, God bless this fucker. He's such an asshole. He's such a likable asshole, and yet I'm still in here fucking dying. When he comes in with his hoodie, he already bought the hoodie. He's like, MIT. I was like, this bitch.
Yeah.
This bitch.
The best part is that he won. He got what he wanted. He got Spider-Man to say, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
And then everyone's memory was wiped, so it didn't matter in the end. Which is such a great way to screw him over, and like I love it. Yeah. Love it to death.
Also, if we're talking like smaller characters, when he first walks back into the school, and we get the gym teacher, is Hannibal Buress, who's the fucking conspiracy theorist. We get the teacher who's like a giant Spider-Man fan, and we get the principal who's just like trying to deal with a fucking super awkward situation.
Yo, that shit.
He calls him sir, like gives him a salute and stuff. It's great, man.
That dude was the funniest dude in the whole movie. That's like Mysterio was right. That dude.
Yes. That's Hannibal Buress.
That dude he deserves an award for how he's sitting there. He's just muttering. Because that's what like he doesn't even like he's like Mysterio was right. Yeah.
So funny.
It's hilarious. Yeah. They
just muttering.
God. Anytime any character was on screen, they were hilarious and the writing was great. Even if it wasn't impactful, it was the smallest part of the world. They were still great. Did you notice in the very, very, very beginning when Spider-Man swings down to like pick up Zendaya, the lady like throws herself at Spider-Man, and when she runs into him, she goes, "Oh my God, Spider-Man hit me! Oh my God, did someone get that on
with
camera?"
Her phone out. Yeah, with her phone out.
It's like that's exactly how that would go. It was exactly on point. It's
and
so
then
good.
like the stan culture, like where there's like half the crowd hates Spider-Man, the other crowd loves him, and then there's that one person that's like, "We love you, MJ!" And they have like a fan t-shirt of like MJ's face. Just like it's like unofficial. Yo, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, man.
That shit was hilarious. We love you, MJ.
Didn't he ask her, "Are you gonna have his spider babies?" Wasn't that his next line?
Yeah, you gonna have his spider babies.
I need to know that the casting agent, the person who cast that actor, like that guy, "I love you, MJ," was so funny. Oh my God. Yes.
Oh my God.
That was
someone
great
in your chat,
casting.
Jesse, is saying that guy is Zendaya's manager. Please
Really?
tell me that's true.
Oh,
Please
my
tell
God.
me that's true.
I'm gonna look it up.
That is the most hilarious shit that dude killed it.
Let's
That
see.
dude killed
That
it.
is
We love
so
you,
good.
MJ. I loved him. He was hilarious.
That was
With
so
his
good.
stupid shirt that he clearly made himself. Oh my god.
I mean, she's got 3 agents, so maybe Mark, Josh, and Bradley.
This would be manager, not agent. This would be a manager.
Oh, manager is Jesse something or other. So Jesse with an IE. Sorry.
Son of a bitch.
Which could be the case. Yeah. It's her assistant. God. I mean, this doesn't list who her is. This doesn't. Bookingagentinfo.com does not list her agent or her assistant. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
so.
I think I found it. Google search.
Is
this the person?
He was.
I think
he had,
it is.
Curly hair, long hair, something like that.
Zendaya's assistant is named Darnell Appling, and if you just. Yeah, the photos of them together.
Oh, that's 100%.
Holy, it's 100% him.
Yeah,
that's so funny. This dude, I love this dude. Love.
That's great.
What a that's so cute.
That's great. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I love
how
there's so many pictures of them just chilling. How cute is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was him, 100%.
Yeah,
that's so great. No wonder he sold that so well then. Because he was just hamming it up.
Could you imagine having a role like that as an actor's assistant? God, that's fucking sick. That's just a dream.
That is the only roles I ever want to take in anything is like the weirdest thing that you like. Give me that weird role. I will go for it. That was incredible. I love that guy. He's an inspiration. Casting director, I guess they didn't need one because that was perfect.
Yeah.
Laughed so hard.
Good stuff. All right. That's a 3-hour show. What's our longest show? Didn't we do a 4-hour one?
There was one week where 3 things came out and we had to talk about it.
We've had some long shows.
We have.
You can tell we gushed about Spider-Man.
I mean, it's hard not
when they're winners, they're winners. What can you say?
Yeah, what can you say? What can you say?
I feel like this one should be marked for the annals for next time when we dumpster something like Eternals and people are like, these 3 don't enjoy anything. Go watch this VOD. Clearly we do. Yeah, maybe Eternals just wasn't that good. Okay.
We'll have our final show of 2021 next week on the 27th. Is everyone here? Are you guys all here on the 27th before I announce this?
I ain't doing nothing. I think we established I'm doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. We'll go through everything coming out in 2022 and talk about our different thoughts for it, as well as wrap up Hawkeye. Just a quick preview, though, for everything coming out in 2022. We got Doctor Strange 2, Thor in July, Black Panther in November, Ms. Marvel sometime next summer, Moon Knight sometime next year, She-Hulk, What If Season 2, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special is next Christmas a year from now. So we'll jump into all that.
Black Panther's going to get delayed.
Black Panther, will you think?
Yeah, there's no way that movie's coming out by next November.
Well,
next November, there's no way in hell. Never happened.
They're filming in they're starting not starting, but they're going to resume filming in January, and they still have to like edit and do the effects for that.
We'll see. Yeah, it depends on how much stuff they have left to film. I don't know. Who knows how long they were in production. Let's do some shout outs.
They don't even have a trailer.
I know. Yeah. When do you think they drop that Doctor Strange trailer? Sometime next week? A post Christmas Day thing. I thought it was going to be today, to be honest.
I didn't think it was going to be today. I think they want people to go to the movies and risk the Cobra. I don't. Yeah. I think they want. I think that's like the reward you get is to see that trailer.
We did not talk about how well it did, but it is the 3rd largest movie opening ever in the history of movies, which is absolutely wild. To consider the fact that there's a pandemic going on right now.
Yeah.
It could have done, Sony probably looks at that and they're like, guys, it could have been bigger. We should have worn our masks, guys. We could have made so much more money. We could have done this. Like, we bought stocks in the pharmaceutical companies. We're good. And the vaccine companies. We got it. That's where they made their money. Anyways, getting too political. Let's do some shout outs. Jesse, start us off.
Hey, if you enjoy video games, you should probably play them. But if you enjoy watching someone play video games, I do that sometimes. In fact, I'm going to do it right after we're done here. Whenever JP relinquishes control of my channel.
Never.
Yeah, and I'll
just gonna play Papaya
into...
for the next 10 hours on your channel.
You know what? That would be equal, if not better, than what I intend to do. So chat would love that. They'd be like, Papaya? Yeah. I think there is a 10-hour version, so you wouldn't have to do any work.
Yeah,
you just click it and leave the room.
Go get some food.
That would be it for me. But yeah, I'm gonna jump into. I have no idea where I'm at in the Final Fantasy story, but let me tell you, they already plot twisted me once, and I'm 84, so I'm in the 84 story. So I've got 6 more levels.
Oh, you just started the expansion. Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, I'm aware. I just did the first trial, and I'm like,
yeah, you just started the game.
Can't wait. And that will
30 hours
that
to go
today, and awesome. And yeah, I mean that's it. I can't really do much because I'm still being a safe boy because I got a call from the government, and they said I might have been around someone who had COVID. So I'm fine. I'm like boosted and everything, but I'm being safe just in case. I got tested, and I'm waiting to hear back. So see what's what. That's me.
What's that camera behind you?
Oh, this camera. This camera right here. I was filming a thing earlier.
It's a nice fucking camera right there.
It's a black magic, and it's lovely.
That's nice.
I got a box in the mail from The Witcher and Old Spice.
You bastard.
And it is 6 cents designed to be from the world of The Witcher, and 3 of them lovely smelling, and 3 of them, one is called Roach.
Does it smell like a horse?
One is called Geralt's Bathwater. It's not pleasant.
No, it's not. No, it is. Are you actually serious?
I'm not even fucking around. And one is called Kikamora Corpse, and it is nasty. However, the 3 that smell good, one is called the Butcher of Blaviken, and if that's what Geralt smells like, that man smells great. One is called the Smell of Surprise, which is also very good smelling. And my favorite one is Yennefer's Armpit.
No, it's not. What the fuck?
Totally I can't tell if you're just
this is one of those things where I don't know if this is a Jesse goof. Is this video published?
Bronze, it's no, not yet. Bronze, literally just like say your goodbyes. I'm gonna go grab this thing and I will show you. I'm not even joking. Okay. This isn't a joke.
Do some shoutouts, Bronze. What do you got going on? Where can people check it out? Where can people see those hot League of Legends ADC plays?
Yes, twitch.tv/ThatBronzeGirl. I'm live 6 days a week. I got my Twitch recap, and I streamed over 2,100 hours this last year. And when you divide that by 365, that averages 5 hours a day, period. Woo! So suffice it to say, I'm on that grind. Come hang out sometime. I'm thinking of restarting up my single show called let me rephrase that. Comic book single show called Bagged and Boarded.
Do it.
Review or talk about what I've read this week. Some of it's backlog, some of it's current log, but it's a fun little show. And so stay tuned for that. You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter for when I finally get that up off the ground. I just wrapped Battle for Beyond, which is the D&D miniseries I was DMing for D&D Beyond, and the entirety of that is on YouTube. And a lot of people are really loving it, so that's kind of awesome. Cool. And other than that, I have like 4 writing deadlines, and I'm behind on all of them. So if I seem tired this week, please don't come on my channel and ask me if I'm pissed off. I'm just tired. Okay.
What are you, pissed off? What's going on over there?
Look,
people keep coming into my channel and say Bronze looks depressed or Bronze looks pissed off, and it's like I am behind on 3 different word counts.
You know what? Here, let me tell you what that is, Bronze. And I'm sorry if this offends you. Tell me that you're a female streamer without saying you're a female streamer. That's what that is, right?
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I was about to say, no one has ever asked me, like...
people come in and they say, Bronze seems off today. She seems sad. How can I help? But I'm like, I'm not wearing makeup. That's literally it.
God damn it. That happens to me every once in a while, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this must be a nightmare to get this every single fucking day, because this is once a month and I'm already triggered beyond belief. Jesse, what are these candles?
All right, they're limited edition Old Spice literal deodorants.
That's
and I'm not joking when I say this one's called
get these.
The Butcher. Oh, I literally, when I heard they existed, was like, I love when people send me weird shit. Send me the weirdest thing you have. And they were like, okay. So the Butcher Blaviken is one of them. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wait, I thought these were candles. These are deodorants?
Literal deodorant.
So you're good for like the next couple months.
This one's called Yennefer's Underarm.
Jesus Christ.
This one is straight up smell of surprise.
I don't know how I missed that part of the story. I thought these were candles. So these are actual things they want candles you to put on your body.
I thought they were candles as well.
This is in a bag, a separate bag, a scent lock bag, because this is Geralt's bathwater. And when I open this bag up, the stank is unbearable.
Wait, it smells that bad? Why would they? Oh, okay. That's crazy.
They're for goofs. It's a goof. This one's roach. It literally smells like a horse. And
what does a horse smell like?
Like it smells like
I don't know. I've never smelled.
I've been around horses before. It smells like a horse. It's weird.
Okay.
This one is literally when the package arrived, there was like a stank coming from it. And I couldn't figure out what this Kikamura corpse is. Literally,
it just smells foul.
Oh, it's nasty. It's so disgusting.
What did
when I got it out of the box, I started coughing. What?
I understand that this is PR. Like, I get it. But what did they expect you to do with that? Like, how do they expect you to post on social media or promote with that?
What they wanted me to do was make an unboxing video where I open it and smell it. And I did.
There you go.
Oh, I did.
Look for that video.
And they were like, put it on your Instagram. I was like, oh, all right, sure.
Yeah.
So
Back for Blood sent me a candle that I think it was actually just called like Death. It smelled awful. I threw that shit away.
I love
when
people send me weird stuff. The weirder, the better. If you're a company and you want me to advertise your thing, send me some weird shit. If you send me a deodorant that smells like death, I will talk about it. You can damn well bet your money I will say something.
They're getting their money's worth. Here.
Yeah, a t-shirt.
I'm the opposite. I get so much anxiety throwing stuff away, but then I also get anxiety keeping it, and then it like stacks up in my house. I'm like, so I love those cards we got from Midnight Suns because I was like, oh, this is something
those
cool.
are fantastic.
Yeah, they're neat.
Yeah.
Here's a candle that smells like Blade's sweaty asshole. I'd be like,
I'd take that.
Oh,
I'd probably wear that.
What?
Look, people always trying to skate up.
Smelly asshole. I love it. Yeah.
What is it? Ice skate uphill. Blade he ice skated uphill, and I want to smell his ass afterwards. You know.
What the hell is happening right now?
I gotta know.
Why? You know what? End it. Just
wait. Oh my God. I've never seen that Lakari emote. That's actually hilarious.
Send us off.
Lakari WTF is great. All right. Anyways, that's that. We'll let you know what Blade's asshole smells like next week, maybe if they send us some of it. If not, we'll be back. We'll talk Hawkeye episode 6. And the finale of that. And then we'll probably preview 2022 and talk about the films coming out and the shows coming out and what we think and all that stuff. So that's that. Thank you guys for joining us. I guess happy holidays. Merry Christmas if you're celebrating. We won't see you till afterwards. And good luck to you. Everyone watching as well as the two of you. I hope everything works out. And your non-Christmassy Christmas days.
Thank you.
Yeah. And watch out for Blade's asshole. Okay?
I will.
It sneaks up on you, man. He's a vampire. He doesn't make noise.
Oh, shit.
Wait, does that mean Blade's farts are silent? Do you think that's...
Wait, does he have a digestive tract? He just drinks blood. So does his digestive tract expel anything?
What is the what's a vampire's digestive tract? Look, it's got to change, right?
I thought they just can't metabolize food, so that's why they throw up blood if they eat anything. You know,
you
eating food makes vampires very sick, right?
I think
and
that's
Blade
right.
just exists off serum, right? I don't think Blade eats food, does he?
MCU better answer this.
So does Blade even sweat? Well, I guess he's a daywalker. So he's not like other vampires.
Bronze, if you know what I'm saying.
Right?
He ice skates uphill. What if they just have a sequence where he's ice skating and then there's a ramp that goes uphill and Blade's like, I got this. That'd be great.
That reminds me of that story from How Did This Get Made about Wolverine and Sabretooth snowboarding down a mountain and how they really wanted to put that in a movie. And now I just want to see Blade be like, I got this. He skates uphill. I would love that shit.
That'd be great. That'd be great. All right, we're done. Thanks for watching the MCU Crew. Go see Spider-Man if you haven't and you're boosted and vaxxed up out of your mind. If not, wait till it comes out on Disney Plus or wherever it's. Does Sony have a show? Is there like I guess Crackle is what Sony had, and that failed. So it probably will be on Disney Plus.
What the fuck is Crackle?
Oh, Crackle is a Sony thing back in the day.
Crackle.
Crackle.
Oh, Crackle.
It was a failure. It was an absolute failure. All right, that's it. We're out of here.
There goes our Sony sponsorship.
Oh, Crackle.
Oh, no, I'm already blacklisted by Sony. We ain't getting a sponsorship there. You don't have to worry about that. We're out of here.
No,
have a good one.
Crackle.
Bye.